for it again.
You've gotten in trouble in the past. What happened?
I got in jail a couple times.
But you still do it?
Hell yeah.
You're now listening to the AITV podcast.
You know what the fuck time it is.
All right. All right, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right,
I'm
sick.
good.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of All in the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Myan, the show where I sit down with writers from around the Bay Area and we talk shop. Today on the show, I'm having a master of Kung Fu and someone that will remind you of your favorite cloth by your bedside.
Yes. The keepsake that we all have. Everybody knows about it. Don't
Well,
act
I'd like
you
to-
don't have one.
Fuck yeah. Hey, man, I got two of them. You know, I got to
Yeah.
alternate them.
Yeah. Wait, what's his name or her name?
So that's Aki. It's my bunny rabbit. I got two bunny rabbits.
Okay.
So that's Aki on top, and then Denji is somewhere around there. The only reason why Aki's not on this side, because this is his space,
Yeah.
is because he'll chew on the
Oh,
cords while we're recording.
evil.
Yeah.
Don't do that. little
Yeah,
bunny.
evil little fucker.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I'd like to bring onto the show Cumrag.
What's up? Yep. Yeah.
What's good, dude?
Shit, I mean, what's been good lately? I've been doing a lot of reclusive behavior recently.
Yeah. Cuddy
I've been,
debauchery.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a whole different tangent that doesn't have necessarily to do with graffiti itself, but more so the things that come along as you get older as a writer. You realize, at least I've realized personally, I can't hang with the general behaviors that happen with most graffiti writers, at least Bay Area graffiti writers. Like, I'm tucked off.
You're getting
these
old,
days.
man.
I gotta spend time by myself or with my girl or with like one person at a time. I can't hang anymore. Like,
Yeah, welcome to the club.
it's like, it's too much, like, because to be fair, I can't afford to fuck shit up in my life because it's getting harder to fix
Oh, yeah.
the things I break.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, sometimes you have to instantly go into that, like, all right, let me get my priorities straight. What's actually important? What do I need to
Exactly.
protect? When can I be somewhat of an asshole? And then when should I, be on the straight and narrow?
And then also trying to balance doing that with like painting as much as I can still.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I just don't have time to go kick it. I can't go to people's barbecues and like just hang out and do nothing.
Yeah.
It's essentially doing nothing all day. Like,
Right.
it may be like smoking blunts and like drinking beers with the homies and like somebody gets a bag or we go to the bar or whatever the fuck it may be. Like,
Saca la bolsita.
boy, don't get me started. Like, the crazy white devil that shit is just like, I have no room for that shit in my life anymore. Like, and the thing about like, just, it's like, it's always in a casual nature. I've noticed with like my broader friend group, it's always just casually hanging out.
Yeah.
Casually doing nothing for a full work day's worth of time.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's so much time that I could be catching up on sleep, cleaning up my place where I live, and like putting things in place to have things to do later on in the week, blah, 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 like.
Oh, for sure.
I don't
Having
wanna-
a clean space is like,
it's important.
oh, 100%. And then
important.
when you know, like, it's funny, like my house is not messy, maybe a little unorganized, but I also know where everything is with like my ADHD. So it's like I put things in exactly. So like I put things like, where it is. To me, it's clean. To my lady, it's not. But I understand when you come in, you're like, okay, now I know I'm in my workspace and I can actually like flow and do my thing.
Every time my girl comes over to my apartment, if I have something to do where I have to leave her there for like over an hour, she'll clean
And then
or
you
reorganize,
lose those things,
and then
right?
everything I knew where it was is now just disappeared and gone. And
Yeah.
it's like, I appreciate her doing that. She genuinely wants to just care and be
And help. Yeah,
nurturing,
for
but
sure.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, this is here and this weird little pile of like change and caps and things is here for a specific reason.
Oh,
I know
God.
it looks cluttered, but that's there to be there. So
This is
I know
so
it's there,
relatable.
so please don't move it. But, you know, it's like I finally live in an apartment by myself. I don't have a roommate.
Congrats.
And I don't have pets, which is, you know, I love cats, but it's so nice to know that I can leave for the weekend and all I have to make sure is that my lights are off and my stove is off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
No,
I
it
don't
is a
have to rush
liability for
home,
sure.
You know, like if I do end up going to jail while painting, I know that nothing is going to be detrimental to the point where I'll have to, like, you know, bury something. When I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
home,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like,
No, for sure.
So yeah, I don't know. It's I've made steps to get into the right place, in a comfortable place. Not comfortable necessarily, but like it's set enough where I can focus on going to the next stage of life and finishing this chapter of whatever is going on right now. You know, like finishing this chapter so I can move on and level up, so to speak, because I think there's this common thing that happens where people are move to the next stage of their life when they aren't really done with the previous stage of their life. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, like, no, you gotta make sure all the
You gotta close that
boxes
shit.
are
Yeah,
checked,
yeah.
you know? So
Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, I mean, congrats on having your own place by yourself. I totally feel that that's a flex in the Bay Area, unfortunately, right? It's really hard. Yeah, obviously I live with my lady now, but prior to her moving in, this apartment I got into by myself with no roommates, and I was like, whoa, peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Like tranquility of like being in my own space. No one dictates anything. No one's knocking on my door. You know, I'm just like, fuck. And for a minute there, it was actually a little anxious just because it was like I'd never not been around someone in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you lay there in bed and it's like all you hear is your own heartbeat, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
what
like,
a trip.
Like knowing you don't have to answer the door because I'm not expecting anyone coming over today. Ain't nobody else living here. I'm not going to come home to a bunch of people in my house.
Yeah.
You know, there's not going to be things that I did not have in one place that are now there taking up space.
Or the worst is like when you've had like such a long day and you're just like, dude, I don't want to talk to anyone. And you come home to a party.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone's like, come on, hang out. You know,
it's
it's
the
like,
weekend, bro. What's up?
and it's like,
It's
yeah,
like,
dog.
No, dude. Like, let me crash. Let me fucking
Yeah.
lay my head down, you know?
I hear you, dude.
So,
Preaching to the choir here.
Because I think that's just graffiti shit, too. It's like,
Yeah.
Every graffiti crew that's been established enough with enough people has always had a flop house somewhere of some sort at some point in time where it's like, oh yeah, there's homies coming in and out all day. At least one person in the crew's a drug dealer, so that brings in more people.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, you got like random people who don't do graffiti just hanging out because they like graffiti writers and all this shit. And it's like, you know, I ain't got no time for that.
Yeah.
I ain't got no more time for that shit.
My
dude.
favorite is when the crew gets together. It's like the ongoing joke that everyone knows this. It's like, you know, everyone racks hella meat. And nobody, no buns, no condiments or nothing. It's just literally just burgers and glizzies.
Which, I mean, as a classic boy chef, as my girlfriend would call it, a lot of my dinners are that. I have a steak and I cook it and I put like salt and pepper on it. And that's it. And I use a fork and a knife to eat it. And
there you go.
And like maybe some A1 sauce.
I was about to say, you hit the A1 sauce?
But it's like no veggies, no starches, none of that shit. Because it's like my reasoning behind that is like, well, I can use one pan to cook this thing and
have one
have
cold
one
thing,
plate,
one hot thing.
You know, versus like if I gotta boil potatoes.
Yeah.
Or like make a chimichurri or like I guess. I know how to follow directions enough. I'm not stupid.
Sure.
So, like, I could make that stuff. But the amount of cooking I did with my mom when I was a kid, I realized you make so much. There's, like, cooking waste that comes up of like, the aftermath of every dish you touched with something that has to be cleaned. And, like, I hate doing dishes.
I hear you.
You know?
Yeah.
But I also hate having a dirty kitchen, too, with filthy dishes. So, like. If I and
so
like
you're minimizing and you're like
Exactly.
doing it as effective as possible.
And if I have to cook for one person, you know, which is usually just me, like I'm not usually cooking for anyone more than myself. Maybe I'll cook for my girl, but it's like if I'm just cooking for me, it's like why am I gonna do like what 2 hours worth of cooking and prep
for 15 minutes of eating?
No, not even 15 minutes, because I'm a fucking psychopath who eats like I'm in a competition. So I will literally finish a plate of food in under like 5 minutes.
Jesus.
And then have to do 15 minutes worth of dishes.
Yeah.
It's like all this extra work just for like, it's like, I mean, granted, and that's also my problem too.
I love
is I
this
just
conversation.
like eat out
it's fucking
all
great.
the time.
Yeah.
I'm always ordering takeout. So like, you know, it's like, it's trash that you can just throw in the trash can. You don't have to dirty any dishes, and I'll eat it as quickly or as slowly as I want. But it's always like, dude, like super burrito, no problem.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy.
Jesus.
You know?
Good for you.
I'm kind of self-conscious about it, but it is something, if you've ever eaten a meal with me, you'll know it's just like I'm finished before people even like start touching all the different pieces on their plate. It's like
sick. All right, well, for sure, man. Well, you know, we'll share a burrito and see who eats it.
Eating.
Dude, you need to get in that the hot dog eating competition.
Dunking it in water sounds so gross.
Yeah,
like,
I hear you. I hear you. The glizzy water, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I feel you, though. I mean, my go-to, and this is maybe just because I fucking, you know, autism and shit, but like when I was like single and living alone, my go-to meal every single day was literally just chicken and bell peppers and onions. And that was it. So I'd throw the chicken in there, you know, just because it cooks a little longer, and then the bell peppers and onions after.
Okay.
Cap it, and then just let that shit steam within it, and it's all cooked up all in one. So I had a little bit of veggie, and then I'd just eat it with no sodium Casa Sanchez chips for a little bit of crunch.
Okay. That sounds keto. Is that keto?
Yeah, well, I was like 300 pounds, and I was like, I was like, I gotta lose weight, and so I was like, how do I cut? I mean, the tortilla is not really that good for you, but you know, I also have high blood pressure, so I had to like stay away from like high sodium diets, and so yeah, I was just doing that, and like, dude, just literally eating that every single day on top of like running and walking and biking and all that shit. Yeah, I was able to drop like fucking. I'm 230 now. I got to 203. But, you know, got into a relationship and, you know, you go on dates and so you start eating. So I gained a few pounds, but
whenever you get in a relationship, you always gain weight.
Yeah, I got to get back into it, but I've just been like so much more busier in my life. All right. So, that was a great intro because I love, you know, cause what it is that like we're people, right? And it's like, you know, I'm interviewing you as a person. And it's like, and yes, I do want to know about your graffiti, but it is really nice to, you know, learn about who you are and some of the things and how it affects your graffiti, you know, how you get into these things. So just to, you know, hop a little bit back. Obviously I'd like to start at the beginning. How did you get into graffiti? You know, like what was the thing that was like, you know, what enticed you that you were like, I'm gonna do this?
Graffiti. So this crazy whirlwind of the shit show that has been my entire existence began in, I want to say 2004 to 2005.
Okay.
At the time, that's like 6th and 7th grade for me.
Oh, okay.
So, and the person who like literally put the idea into my head of what this whole thing is was this guy who writes Carb.
Okay.
Have you heard of him? That
sounds really familiar.
CARB. He used to write Cost when we were kids, KOST, but he changed his name to Carb because there's Cost from 640, who's like some OG East Oakland tagger guy.
Yeah. And then Cost and Rebs from New York.
That too.
Yeah.
But this dude, I've known him since I was like 5 years old. We got pictures with each other in the bathtub as kids and shit like that. So like we go way back. Like the long way. And he was the person who like sort of presented this concept of this game that people play where they get markers and they write on stuff in public.
Yeah.
And they go around and they're sneaky about it. You can't get caught. Like, as kids, we grew up playing the physical game of tag a lot. Like, we weren't really into sports. We didn't play basketball. We kind of played soccer. But, like, you know, we weren't really... I was into skateboarding, but he wasn't because he was, like, a chubbier kid. But, like, we always... Schoolyard, we were always playing tag.
Okay.
So I think the irony that we became writers taggers, you know, is like so funny because it's like, but he presented this idea of just like, oh yeah, like just go into like an art store or like a stationery store and you got to look for these specific, like the Sanford Magnums.
Okay. Yeah.
Or like, I mean,
Sanford.
back then we were using,
with the little hearts.
the fucking, what do you call it? It's the,
Zebras?
So those ones, like the fucking, those ones we had to order online because we couldn't find those in stores.
Oh, really?
But like, you would get like, there were whiteouts that they sold at this stationery store near our house.
Like
and,
Prestos?
Prestos. And like, we were just going, he's just like, you just take the whole box and just walk out. It's like, he had put me on to so much bad shit as a kid, which is like, you know, he came from basically the similar upbringing. Only difference is he was a white kid. So he didn't necessarily have the same repercussions for his actions that I did.
Sure.
Which, see come say, see come saw. But like, you know, he was the one who introduced me to things like racking. He's the one who introduced me to doing things like sneaking out of your house at night. He's the one who introduced me to like smoking weed and drinking alcohol. And
so
like,
he's just a completely bad influence.
well, yeah, it's like, you know, and it's funny. It's like, you know, I got nothing but love for that dude. But like,
sure,
he definitely turned me on to a lot of the things that were to later cause severe problems in my life, you know, and I can't hate him for it because at the same time, it's like, I was like weird when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like I was definitely like kind of into alternative shit. I didn't really have a huge group of friends. I wasn't a popular kid necessarily. And as I got older, it got even harder to be who I was. Because, you know, it's like when I was growing up, you know, I got clowned on by so many kids for like riding a skateboard. You know, it's like,
really?
Why don't you play basketball? Yeah, no, dude. Like, there are black skaters that come from the East Bay, but I didn't know them.
Sure.
And everybody in my circle was basically all about hip hop related thing. Everyone who grew up around me was all about like hip hop related stuff.
Gotcha.
Which is just like, oh, you're not supposed to listen to Blink-182. You're not supposed to skate. You're not supposed to have holes in your shoes. Like that's for white boys. And so I got a lot of flack for that from like my own family. My cousins would rag on me, you know what I mean? Kids at school would just make fun of me. And like, so graffiti was cool because it was like this thing that was like, it doesn't have to, first off, it happens. It's not something you go out and show out. You know what I mean? You're not doing it around people. You're doing it in the secret of night. You have to you keep this little book that you keep closed all the time with all your writings and drawings in it. And, you know, it's like, although it created a whirlwind for all this other stuff to flood into my life that may not be healthy, at the end of the day, I owe all of this shit to Carp. Because, like, that fool, he was up on some other type of shit because his parents let him go out and go to shows.
That's sick.
As a kid. I didn't get to do that. I was very much like helicopter mom, like, you got to be home, so I need to know where you are type shit. Mm-hmm. And so we had friends who were basically kids who lived in Berkeley who I think he met going to shows and met through other friends of ours. And, like, they were sort of up on game. And that's essentially what, like, the crew TFN is, which a lot of those dudes are Lords dudes now. Like, a decent amount of them are now in Lords. But, like, those guys were, like, kids that I met when I was in high school who were just, like when it comes to, like, their abilities to, like, draw, to, like, do letters and things like that. I was like, oh, shit, I want to be like these guys. Yeah. But I couldn't do it because I didn't know. You know.
TFN was definitely a big influence for you?
Yeah, and I mean, I was like, I'm in TFN. You know, I don't really rep it anymore, but, like, those were, like, the kids that I basically, like, taught me how to paint when I was just, like, in high school, you know.
Sick.
Because before then, when we first started tagging in, like, middle school, we weren't, like, doing names. Like, we were just, it was, like, there were, like, 5 of us, and we would all go hang out at 1 or 2 people's different houses, and we'd all write the same thing. We wrote TPK, which was just, like, it was, like, you would not have seen it, because we were strictly, like, using markers only, and, like, didn't even really understand
what did it stand for?
There were, like, multiple things it stood for. The Panda Club
The Panda Club.
Or like The President Kills, which I think at the time it was like, George Bush was the president.
Yeah.
So like, but then like, I think I saw Piece by Piece in like '08.
Yeah.
Maybe like just before, either in 8th grade, '06, or maybe '07, because it came out '06, right?
I'm pretty sure it was '06, yeah.
And like we watched it, and then it sort of something clicked, and it's like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. So we're all supposed to have our own names, and then we have a bigger group that's like our crew. And then you're not supposed to be using just markers. You got to get spray paint. Yeah. Which was like, we didn't know how to get spray paint. You know what I mean? Like we fucking I think I went like to my parents' basement and found spray cans.
Yeah.
But even still, it's like, now I need a backpack. I can't just put this shit in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then it smells hella bad, so you can't just use it during the day. Like, yeah. It was really interesting how that, but it's like, dude, this shit fucking snowballed. Because, like, there was something mysterious about that, this Piece by Piece, which, like, mind you, I will watch that religiously.
Oh,
like,
every time I'm sketching, I put it in the background. It's.
I think for a while I was like watching it like every 3 months.
Oh, really?
Like, sit down, watch the whole thing, focus the whole fucking time. I can probably recite the movie verbatim.
I think any Bay Area, well, you should
you
be
should.
able to.
It's like that's like one of those necessary ones.
Yeah.
That you need to watch, because like, at least doing graffiti out here in the Bay, because like the way that they make that documentary, they paint such this romantic, mysterious picture of graffiti, where it's just like, I want to know more. I want to go find this. I want to go understand what this is all about. And every time I watch it, even to this day, I still see new things in the video that I've never seen before. So like, not so much dialogue, but more so like, oh, I don't remember seeing that picture in that slideshow. Like, oh, that's.
Or you look in the background, and you don't look at the focused main piece, but the tags above it. Like, oh shit, that person's fucking.
But like, that was like, that's, and then it's like, I saw that before I saw Style Wars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I saw Style Wars later on in high school, and then I think around the time Infamy was '08, maybe, or
probably
09,
around there.
maybe,
Yeah, Infamy was fucking sick too.
Infamy's good. I mean, like, that's like, it's more interpersonal, where they like interview specific writers rather than a mass group of people. And
Chicken Cutlets, definitely recommend that.
Like, I mean, shit. Kudos to Earsnot, dude. That guy's like arguing. He's like just he's very respectable person in my eyes.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking G, dude. Went from rocking North Face to being the face of North Face.
Right.
That's fucking crazy.
Crazy how the tables turn. You know? But yeah, it's like, so, and also, mind you, it was not always Cumrag that I was writing.
Sure.
Like, I've had a plethora of names, and so, like, when I was a kid, I think the first name I picked was Jester.
Okay.
Which was, like, short-lived. There was a little character I'd do with it.
Yeah.
But, and which was, I think, the character was, like, influenced by Logo. 640.
Yeah.
Because I, like, remember going to a spot, like,
and seeing a Logo piece.
Seeing Logo, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's
ill.
like, the coolest shit. And then wanting to do it, but I was like, I can't do it. I don't know how he does it. So I tried to mimic it. And that was short-lived, because as a kid who grew up, like, I wasn't, like, the type of kid to really skip school when I was little. Like, I would always go to school. I got dropped off at school every day and, like, fucking, stayed in class. And I had a very studious, like, routine of how I, carried out my life. I mean, I'm used to sitting at a desk for, like, 8 hours a day.
Yeah, yeah.
And that translated to, like, my obsession with computer games and shit. Or, well, not all computer games, but, like, some. So, like...
Mm-hmm. Were you like Warcraft 3?
No, I was more like Tony Hawk Pro Skater and shit like that. But, like,
It's just because you said PC, so I was like, oh, let me think of, like, StarCraft and shit.
SimCity and shit like
I love that shit,
but,
yeah.
like, I'm used to, like, spending time on a computer. So, like...
Yeah.
when I discovered shit like 12 ounce and like Flickr, I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I could just like use this like I would use anything else, except I'm interested in what's on the screen. It's
So now
not
you're
so
spending
much
8
like
hours on fucking
like
freight slayers or bricklayers and
just like looking through the archives, looking at pictures. It's like, I don't want to read the dialogue of like people funking in the comments. I'm not gonna do that. I don't even understand what people are talking about. But it's like, you look at the pictures and like, I quickly realized I couldn't write Jester because of Jaster.
Yeah, HDK.
And he wasn't even really painting that heavily at that time, but
yeah,
all these pictures popped up on a Flickr page. I think it was Dagmar Onassis.
Oh yeah.
And that dude, he had a bunch of like reverse old code.
Yeah,
old, like,
Dagmar Onassis. Wow, you're bringing it back, dude.
It's like I mean, and this is even still like I figured out there was a Jaster, and I was like, oh, I can't write Jester. And so this is around freshman year of high school. I'm like sitting in class, and I was fucking around just tagging my friends' names.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this one friend who, have you heard of Condor?
Yeah.
So
sure.
Condor is like, he was the kid who grew up with me and Carb, who was like slightly older than us, and he was the one who essentially, I think, put Carb on game with like what graffiti was.
For some reason I didn't think Condor was from the Bay. I only
Born and raised in Oakland.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's sick. I for some reason thought they were out of the Bay. I've only caught a few of their shit in big tunnel lurker.
And then freights,
and then very
to some extent
funk style. But
yeah,
I wouldn't even say Bay Area funk. Like it felt very like East Coast style.
Yeah.
So that's why I just assumed stylistically I was like, oh, they must have been visiting the Bay because I'd only caught those pieces and I'd never seen anything new after.
So that dude, he was good way when we were younger. Like, and he wrote Estate for a long time. And then he wrote Sueños, which was my first real name.
Okay.
And that's essentially where I got the name from, because I was tagging with names. And I think by the time he had gone from Sueños to Estate, and I was just writing Sueños, and I texted him. I was like, yo, can I write that word? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so I started writing that, but like that dude, like,
I wonder if I have some old ass Sueño pictures, and I wonder if they're him instead of you.
No, it's probably me, because I mean, he
I'll have to go back into my Flickr and send you some pictures.
If it's repping TFN or KFC, it's definitely me, because like we're talking like this is like 2009.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like fresh in 2007, 2006, because I'm kind of fried. But like freshman year of high school, and that's basically the name that I developed and got good with, because he wrote that, but he wrote basically Sobre tu Sueños.
Oh, okay.
Which I mean, it was like, that means like follow your dreams.
Yeah.
And that was very short-lived of his, but he did enough of it around me and Carb where we knew that was one of his old names. But that's like, his first name he got known for was Estate.
Okay.
And then it later became Condor, and then I think from there he was also writing Client, and then a couple other words. This is out when he was out in Denver. That dude's got style for miles. He knows how to do like the most fire black book pages, like paints corner to corner, fills everything in, and he uses like those blender markers, so there's no streaks or anything, Very good at art, and just like straight up, like, not only did he disappear from the friend circle because he moved and then moved again, but he just stopped writing. He just was like, I'm done. I don't need to anymore.
Damn.
And it's like, for as long as he hasn't been picking up a can, he's got like so much shit running.
Yeah,
and like
for sure.
Because he was like all those tunnels in the East Bay, not just like the main one that runs from like down to, but like every other Cuddy tunnel in all the other creek systems throughout the East Bay at least, and I think even in some in the South Bay or like in San Francisco area.
Yeah,
he was like the first one there.
Yeah, really?
Like
crazy
nothing
lurker
in there, and he'll do like a tag. He'll do like Condor OBG blankety blankety blank year.
Yeah.
And then just leave it. And he had this whole repertoire of spots that he was like, I don't know if he was planning to go back and do pieces or productions, or he'd do some shit like walk to the middle of the tunnel, the very direct middle of the tunnel, do a piece, and then like not take a picture of it.
Sick.
And then so it's just there, you know, and like like those tunnels, like if you're above the water line, your shit's preserved in pristine condition because there's no sunlight.
Yeah.
No real weather.
Yeah.
And it stays cold or like cool enough where it like doesn't really like start to like waste off of the wall.
Yeah.
And so he's got like all
Runners.
those tunnels, all these kids who think they're fucking tunnel lurkers and all this shit. Condor was there like
Before all y'all.
15 years before you.
OBG in general are like crazy lurkers.
But that was, I mean, high school was interesting because like I basically picked that word to run with, and that I like was like I got good at piecing before really learning how to bomb. I kind of knew tagging, but I was basically like, you know, I was like, I would sit down a lot, and I was like always sitting. So I was drawing all the time. I was artistically inclined, and so I would just sketch and sketch and sketch. And there was like one like day where like shit just sort of clicked, and I was like, oh wait, this is how you make a piece. Because it was just kind of like for a while it was just like throwing shit on paper and seeing what would work, and I like knew what didn't work because I would spend so much time looking on Flickr at pieces and then like walking around at like I grew up near a couple piecing spots that were like that had old pieces at them.
Yeah.
Up in the various upper areas of Oakland, and like these are all spots that now have been since washed of their old pieces and they've been recycled with new stuff. But like, you know, you go look at these spots and I was like, I'm so in. Like there was a crash piece that was running near my house for like, oh dude, this piece was like 04 maybe older than that, you know. And then there's all this stuff at this bridge that was like just like crazy classic old shit. And like, you know, you just go and you like I didn't want to be at home because like I just didn't want to be there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to be at these spots.
Yeah,
soaking it all in.
I walk around and I go lurk out there and just like sit and just look at these pieces and just like stare at them. And it wasn't even like there was a whole line of pieces for me to like look at and walk because I wasn't near the tracks. But I'd stare at the same, I'd fixate on the same pieces, I'd take pictures of them and then like study them later. And like it's weird when you learn how to piece before bombing because then your approach to like the general whole ball of wax changes because you sort of prioritize different parts of graffiti when it comes to the physical structure of what you're painting. You know, like your letter structure, you prioritize different things. I think when you're a kid who grows up as a tagger or starts off as like a heavy tagger, because like I didn't really figure out how to tag with spray paint and make it look good until like much later. You know? Okay. Like that was actually I think one of the biggest things for me to grasp was like doing hand styles with spray. Like I could learning how to flare and all this and that. Or like, you know, being able to utilize the stock tip so you could tag with a stock tip and make it look good. Like that shit was challenging to me. Yeah. But it still is for me. It's like that shit's it's important. It's like basically if you're gonna do graffiti, and I wanna really pound this idea in to anyone who's listening who may be unsure of what they're doing and what their style is and what their aesthetic is. Do everything. Do everything. Cover the whole ball of wax. Don't just tag. Don't just do throw ups. Don't just do pieces. Do everything, and do it in a various different types of places and different types of heat levels. If you're used to painting underneath a bridge all the time or in a tunnel, and you're young and you can afford to get in trouble, go paint in the street. And I'm getting closer to the mic because I'm really want to hammer this in. Like, if all you do is walk around and catch tags on the same bus route or in the same general hood that you're in, and you're up with as fuck with tags and like throw ups, maybe take a couple days off, couple weeks off, gather your paint supply a little bit more, and then go find a spot and then paint something and take a little more time. Because something I've noticed with kids that I've met, because I'm super hyped on kids. Don't get it twisted. I'm like, I love what the kids are doing. I love the fact that there's a lot of younger kids who are doing good shit.
Yeah.
But they are closed-minded. They only want to do one thing. I'm specifically mentioning this to a couple of my little homies, and you know who you are. I'm not going to name you by name, but you know who you are.
Yeah.
Do other shit. Do other shit. Don't just do your throw up. Don't just do your tag. Make a point to break out and try other shit when you're young, because the younger you start doing that, it'll actually just get easier to get used to doing everything.
Yeah.
If people are all going, if I want to be a part of the group of my friends and they're all going to the train yard to do burners, I can go do that because I know how to do that. I'm not some doofus who only knows how to do his throw up, and so I'm going to go to the yard and like dump a bunch of black and white on freight trains and do throw ups on all the panels, because like there is a time and place for that, but it's not now. Like, people are doing pieces. They're going to cap you instantly if you do throw-ups on trains unless you are, like, established like that. So just don't do that. Learn how to piece. And if all you do is pieces and you're hanging out in the tunnels and you're lurking and you're getting all these colors, like, maybe take 2 of those colors, just 2, a dark and a light, and get, like, 6 and 6 of them, and then go do some throw-ups. Because if you know how to draw, which every graffiti writer thinks they know how to draw,
yeah,
because you're drawing your stupid graffiti on shit. So, like, you know how to draw. Just come up with something simpler and faster to do, or something more complicated and intricate. It just takes focus. And I think the thing is so many kids are, like, they can't focus on, like, they want to get it right the first time. Because the validation of somebody congratulating you for doing something that they saw feels good, and they feel it, it's like they feel comfortable doing what they know they can do the first time. So it's like, I don't know, I think it's like you have room for error when you're young. I can't afford to come toy anymore, but I've worked to that point of not being able to come toy.
No, I agree with you, and I think the biggest problem is that when, and I experience this so much so myself, because I hang out with a bunch of youngins that if you listen to this podcast, I always talk about advice for the youth and how to bring people up, because I feel like there's not really like a mentor OG type of mentality anymore. It's definitely, I feel like kids that do tag and do throws, and I'm like, all right, cool, do this straight letter, and then they'll be like, dude, but it doesn't look like your shit. I'm like, well, yeah, because I've spent 15 years focusing and fucking up, and taking advice from other people, and then they're like, yeah, but I can't do it. And then they'll just completely, like, because they can't get that instant gratification, it's no longer interesting. And I'm like, man, that's where it's like, it takes time. You got to put in the effort. You got to put in the work. Fuck up, dude, because the next piece will be better. Fuck up because the next piece will be better. Fuck up because the next piece will be better. And it's like, a couple of years from now, you look back and be like, fuck, dude, all those piece of shit pieces were worth it. And keep going over yourself if you don't want to take hella spaces, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking advice and shit, and I give advice to kids all the time, and I'm like, I'm going to give you my advice on my style, on my experiences, how I aesthetically like things. I don't have to copy my shit, but you'll be like, I like the way that arrow came off. I'll take that arrow and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, those little things is like, just take a little bit of everything and influence and advice, and then eventually mold it into your own thing. But it's going to take time. But I hear you. It's, speaking of infamy, right? It's like NM, you might be the best catcher, but you ain't the best baseball player. Like, that is such, truer words have never been spoken.
Versatility. Versatility is necessary if you want to, like, make sort of like, because I mean, it's like everybody wants to be noticed. Everybody wants, like, people to pay attention to
I mean, that's the whole point of graffiti, right?
Exactly. It's like, if you didn't want people to look at your shit, you just paint in your backyard. But like, everybody, it's like you want to be noticed, you want to be remembered to some extent. If you want that, be versatile, be able to do everything under the sun. There's certain things I don't do, like heaven spots. I'm not gonna go climb on the side of a building, but like that has nothing to do with what my graffiti looks like. It's more so where it is. But like, it's like, but even still, I've done them. I just don't want to do it again. It's scary, but like.
But I mean, at this point, you put enough work that your name holds weight in whatever location you put it in.
I try. It's like, I don't know. I just think it's important that everybody. It's just like because like you would actually. I think these kids don't realize they'll actually surprise themselves in what they're actually capable of doing if they just try. Because
that's a good point too.
Dude, I know kids who like only paint with black and white. Yeah. They never use other colors. It's like black and white only.
Gezer.
I mean, I've even seen him use colors. You know what I mean? Dude.
I always rag on him because he's like, I'm like, bro, let's get a piece, let's match colors. He's like, silver fill, yeah.
Like, man, making shit look like a robot, dude. Like, but like, yeah, like so, yeah. It's like it's interesting, like getting into piecing early because like it made sense. And it wasn't even like I was doing elaborate colors of pieces. I was doing like basically like 2-3 color pieces. Cause like before I turned 18, it was pretty hard to get paint. I got in trouble for trying to steal paint from Home Depot. And I actually ended up on probation when I was like 15. Like that youth probation that they do where it's like, okay, it's a petty crime. But now you're like one of these kids who we need to take watch of. And like it was funny because that probation will roll over to your adulthood. Yeah. If you keep fucking up, which dude, I was on probation, which this is like, it's court probation. It's like misdemeanor probation. But I was on probation for like from like age 15 to age 30.
Damn.
Which is like it's like in the stark contrast to like some of my homies who have been on like felony probation for just as long for doing other shit that's not graffiti related. Sure. But like that being said, it's like, whenever I hear a writer be like, oh yeah, I kind of slowed down because I'm on probation. I'm like, don't give me that shit. Don't fucking tell me that. I have been able to paint every year I've done graffiti since I was a kid. Each year it's been more and more and more. Up until I started fucking around with drugs in my mid-20s. It was basically just every year was just more. Regardless of the legal standings I was in. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important. It's like, dude, like, if you're not learning from your mistakes, of course you're not going to want to paint when you're on probation because you're likely to fuck up and do the same thing you did last time that got you caught. Right. You got to be adapting out here. Sure. I think it's, and like, I mean, also, it's like, I'm not going to necessarily give too much bullshit away, but like, you know what, fuck it. I will say this because I think it's important that people know this, but like, East Bay graffiti, Oakland graffiti right now is a fucking cakewalk. It's so easy. It's so easy. Cops do not fucking care.
I mean, even my scared ass goes and does tons of throws.
You can go do throw-ups in Oakland all day. SF's a little different. I think SF is, depending on where you are, you gotta be pretty careful. Sure. Which it wasn't always like that, especially during COVID. It was like fucking chill. But like, Oakland, it's like, you want to go out, have a good time, paint hella fucking spots, get drunk while you're driving, do all this fucked up shit, and just have the cops just not even bat an eye. Just go to Oakland, dude. You'll be fine. And I don't like saying that out loud, but I also do love to say it out loud because it's like, dude, it's not that hard. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it really isn't.
You may get gone over by someone who's better than you. Yeah. You might get capped because
that's like the worst of your troubles. The worst of your problems in Oakland. It's getting gone over.
But yeah, dude, it's like it's shit's for the picking. So it's like I don't want to hear no excuses of why you don't paint. Yeah. If you want to paint more. Yeah. There's plenty of opportunity for people to get active. Now, if you have reasons in your life that prevent you from painting that are legitimate, which there's a lot of legitimate reasons to not do graffiti, there's plenty of reasons. But like, I don't know. I just like that whole excuse of like I was on probation, so I kind of like slowed down. It's like no, dude. Like
all right. So you can't paint fucking Millbrae.
Yeah,
go to Oakland, you'll be all right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I was basically like fixated on piecing and like as I like got older, I sort of like throughout the years in high school, like I would like I transferred schools halfway through high school, so I was at more of an arts focused school, and that was opening up doors for me to actually like be like it. Like I went to a charter arts school for the second half after leaving Catholic school, and you know, they were teaching me things about the artistic process that were like really helpful. It's like, you know, it's not so much just drawing, but there's all these other things that come into play with art and craft and like creating things. And like sometimes you may have to do more than one sketch before you put something into play. Sometimes you'll have to like create like a, you know, what do you call it? Like the big board of ideas where you pull things together to create the bigger picture. You know, it's like take a little bit more time in creating what you want to see put out there. And like, you know, our homework was basically like, you know, we do X amount of pages in a sketchbook for homework, you know, at least for the art.
You dropping sueños in the homework?
Oh yeah, I was doing all sorts of burners and shit, you know, and like because of like shit I had done in school up until transferring, I had all these credits. So like I think my last 2 years of high school, I had like this huge gap of time throughout the week. Like basically I had like 3 periods free.
Oh shit.
And since I was an upperclassman, they gave me off-campus privileges. So I'd like go leave school like and like go to West Oakland, go lurk around there, take hella photos. I'd go to Berkeley, try and rack paint, go get paint, go spray with homies who were skipping school or were out of school already or like not in high school anymore, like, you know. And
then go back and finish.
And then just go back, and finish the rest of the day out. And that was like, I think that was really helpful because it also taught me it's like you can get so much done if you just put yourself out there, you know.
So it created a good work ethic.
And like it put like, you know, I was skating at the time, but it was like, you know, you got to put in the footwork. You got to be like actually trafficking these fucking streets to like put in that work, you know. It's like all these poles, there's a pole on every corner of every block, and you should have a tag on all of these poles. So these like green boxes in Oakland's classically in the Bay Area in general known for these green boxes. You should be catching tags on these green boxes, you know, like having regular markers in your pocket. Like just it sort of created this work ethic that I think I've since graduated out of now in my older years, but like, you know, I put that shit into play once I graduated 2010, and then I went to SF State for a couple of years, and I was living in the city, and like, you know, going to a city like San Francisco and being like wet behind the ears of just like, okay, like I want to get active, but I don't know anybody out here. Like, how do I make this happen? Because like, I think at the time, you know, there was like a Flickr community, but I was like just young enough and just not known enough where like people weren't really sure who I was. But there were certain people who like Cloud. Do you remember Cloud?
KFC?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've met him.
I figure you guys probably because you guys are closer to each other's age, and like.
Well, I met him in the yard. Well, I'll bleep it out, but I met him in.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. I met him actually painting. I'd known of Cloud years before, and then me and Odom have friends from.
Okay.
Why am I blanking out on their fucking crew? Preach. Sorry, it's because I call him Peach, because he does this P and R blended together, and I started calling him Papeach. And he gets so buttered. But Preach and Peas are from
nice.
Where, you know, that area. And so they were like, yo, come out, you know, Easter Sunday, like none of the workers are gonna be there, let's kick it. And so we ended up just fucking painting all day. And then as I was going through the lines taking pictures, because, you know, obviously I try to document everything, I seen Oh Boy painting, and then I was like, oh, who's this? You know, and I walked out, I was like, oh shit, Cloud, big fan.
So he used to live in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And for like a long time, and that's where we essentially met, and that's also through him is how I met Ambo.
Oh, okay.
And like we've since meeting him, like, because it's like, you know, I think he took a liking to me because we had he could tell that the style I was trying to do with my pieces at the time was similar to what he did.
Okay.
And he's like, also like, oh yeah, he's black. Like 100% we're going to be homies. Like, which isn't always the case amongst black writers, but it's like, you know, we both skate, we both listen to like the same music, and we both paint the same. Like chances are we're going to be homies. And sure enough, we clicked. And like, I liked SF back then because, you know, I'd do shit. Like I'd leave my dorm on like a Saturday. Mm-hmm. I'd go to where he was living at the time in the Tenderloin. And I could just go into his apartment because it was really easy to get into the building, and then I just knew what floor he was on, and no one ever locked their doors for some fucking reason. He lived on this like penthouse apartment.
That's wild.
Which was like, it was basically like, you know, a similar flop house type deal. Like he would wake up to me on his couch like smoking weed. Like, what's up? Like, are we gonna go paint today? He's like, I'm not trying to paint. Like, I was on a bender. Like. This is long before I understood.
So hungover right now. Fuck you.
This is long before I ever understood what benders were. But it's like, dude, like.
Now you get it.
Yeah, I get it now. It's like, I mean, he's the homie. We like smoke a blunt, go get breakfast, and then he'd usually end up like.
You'd get him out.
We'd either get like a 40 and hang out. But like a lot of the painting that we did together came about like, we did our fair share of missions. It was like usually. Because, like, he would go out with Ambo and Scale a lot, and they wouldn't always bring me. Because I was still kind of younger.
Yeah.
But they were, I mean, Cloud was essentially the first one. Me, him, Ambo, and then a bunch of homies from down where he's from. Yeah. We all went to this yard, and that's the first time I really painted real trains, you know.
Down there?
No. This was... over eastward in like which you can bleep that out too, but even still that yard it's not even a yard anymore, so like
it sucks when like yards that were cool back in the day, you know, are gone.
I'm just taking a look at my notes here, but like dude, like he was the one who introduced me to painting freights, and like since like right when he introduced that to me, I sort of got this hair under my ass to do that, because like I think painting a shit ton of freights at like right when I had figured out how to piece and not make my pieces be too bad was helpful, because it's like that's the name of the game with freight trains, is like you got to do pieces on the freights. And like I was always hyper fixated on like doing like never painting the same piece twice but still trying to maintain a style. Which is really hard to do, because if you look at freight train graffiti, it's like always a stamp. Someone's always got like a fucking stamp that they're doing where it's like, oh yeah, it's different, but it's like different colors. It's not like a different piece. And I have a lot of old Sueños panels on trains that are like...
I've flicked a lot of them.
Man, I see those things. I fucking hate them. I hate them because they're just like...
I was about to pull one up. I'm trying to think of like Easter... actually, I think I went painting... I go down there. I have family down there, so like, and I actually used to live there, for a little bit. My dad bought a house out there, and he was like, you know, he convinced my mom to buy a house. He's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to afford a house in San Francisco. Yeah. When I was like 17, and so we went down there for a little bit. My mom hated it just as much as I did, and she was like, yeah, fuck that, we're moving back. I'd rather struggle in an apartment than fucking have a house in Bakersfield.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, dude, down there, it's like there's not really much going on. No. With the weather's pretty brutal. I mean, it's arguably. Did you consider that the Inland Empire? Not really, but or like Central Valley, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hot as fuck.
It's hot as fuck during this
spring,
but, summer, and fall, and then winter it sucks. Yeah, it's not necessarily pouring rain, but it's like freezing and then like just dry and gross. Yes, so that one is like that's a more recent one.
Yeah. But I tell you, I got some pictures of your shit, dude. But that was 2020.
No, I think I did that one down there, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Because I think
there's like a little
is next to me, or is it Cloud next to me?
It's Cloud.
Yeah.
Or wait, I think it's Steak.
It might be Steak too.
No. Steak was with.
Steak might have been with...
What does that say? Ponzi?
Who is Stego. He used to ride Stego.
Okay, but yeah, there's a cloud next to you.
Yeah, but I felt so dumb. That night we could have matched our pieces, but for some reason I wanted to use coral because I was probably wasted.
That's what's up. Yeah, we were like kicking it at nighttime. Fucking
Nice.
the whole little hopper yard. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you've been down there?
Maybe 2020.
Okay.
Actually, well, I was there last year for my cousin's wedding, but I wasn't there to paint.
Yeah.
We still ended up painting, but it was the that little legal yard they have in like that little hood section.
Yes.
Where Suckit has that big ass fucking. It's like Cloud Suckit. I'm trying to. It's like 4 of them on a big truck
Peru,
next to the taqueria.
Peru's on it too. And
Yeah.
Maybe Abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that little legal yard, we were like, oh, let's just go hit the legal. And
the east side wall.
shout out to Rocket. You know Rocket?
Why does Rocket sound familiar?
I don't know, man. He networks, you know. Like
Okay.
I met him at the Bazaar Fest in Fresno.
Yeah.
And we've been friends ever since.
Okay.
You know, he's super cool, and so every time I go down there, I always hit him up like, yo, you know, if we can't catch freight, let's at least, you know, go hit the legal wall.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think we painted with him real quick. Him, and he brought his friend Gator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wall is the classic, like, we've ran out of spots to do, or like that would usually be the first wall we would do getting into town.
Yeah.
I was down there, was this January this year, or was it maybe like March or some shit? I think it might have been January, February. I went down again to get tattooed, and
Sick. From Pier?
no, from Manny.
Okay.
Manny Bravo. That dude's really fucking dope and awesome dude. But yeah, we went down there and like, dude, all their yards are fucked. So
Yeah.
like it's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Like one yard resembles the yard in LA where everybody's breaking into the trains. It's
You're
like,
talking about the fucking yard was the one. Well, I'll bleep that out too.
Yeah.
But the Edda yard is this main spot that I was like going to paint the most.
Mhm.
And that was fucking dumbass chill.
Yeah.
And then there was the God, why am I blank? I hate when you're like in that moment and all of a sudden you just
Is it or is it BNSF?
the BNSF
Yeah.
yard. That spot's fucking. Oh,
Yeah.
and then there's also the Halo yard with the fucking Kyrotrans or
what Rail-X, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So
They
Rail-X
have
done.
hella yards, but yeah, exactly, dude.
They got rid of that shit because, you know, whatever the fuck happened with the factory's all closed.
Oh, great.
Then there's one that was like
Yeah, now it's just finding little offshoots because I haven't paid in
Basically.
the since
the past
like 2018, 2017.
the past 2 or 3 trips that we did down there, we didn't even get any freight in.
And we just
Which-
hit little cutty. We just hit little fucking cutty like hopper spots,
Yeah.
like little stationary lines that they'll hold them for a few days and then they take them out. You know.
Because, like, I don't think Cloud is... we painted a trackside wall. We did, like...
Sick.
We stopped through and we did, like, a giant KFC JDI on, like, this trackside wall.
Nice.
But otherwise, haven't really done any freight down there. And it's, like, honestly... I'm fine with that. I'm not really on the freight hype lately, but we used to go down there on excursions to specifically do freight for, like, an entire weekend.
Same.
And it was like, oh yeah, we bump here, go here, go here. And, you know, I mean, one yard is fucked up where it's just like, now it's like boxes everywhere and they got cops going through all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then some yards are really only good for like streaking the trains and stuff. You can't really sit down for too long of a time and get active. And that's like, you know, it's a bummer, but it's also like, well, I'm alright with that. I don't know, tripping. It's like my whole thing is like I'm taking a very long hiatus from like being heavy into freights because it's just
I feel
like,
it.
the freight thing for me is like it's a
Double-edged
it's a
sword.
lot of supplies. Like my whole thing is like I don't like having a big stash of paint, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Because I used to.
Yeah.
When I was racking, it made more sense to have large stashes of paint because, I mean, the natural thing that happens when you have like 100 cans sitting in a room or sitting on a shelf, at least for me, my personality, my addictive personality is like, I got to use this. So I'm always finding excuses to go paint. I'm always finding excuses to go paint with people. And to be fair, I just can't really be having that type of schedule. And I know that my own self-control is like piss poor. So I would rather just have the paint I need for a weekend. Or
so limiting the amount of supplies is a way that you've been using.
On top of that too, I can keep everything in my car rather than keeping it in my house, which is questionably not necessarily the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I like having my shit in my car so I don't have to go home and regroup. I can just like, oh, there's a spot, pull over, do it.
Yeah.
Done.
See what you got. Figure
Someone
out
wants to
there.
go paint. Oh, I'll come pick you up right now. We'll go do it. Instead of, I have to go all the way back home and I have to figure out what I want to bring. And then usually every time I got to go make like 2 or 3 trips into the house because I forgot something.
Yeah.
If it's all there, I can just pick from it and just be good to go. But you can't keep 100 cans in your car. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's really like a 12-pack and that's it. Couple of caps and adapters in the center console.
I got a decent amount in there, but it's like I've been trying to like downsize how much I have on my person so I can only really have what I need. And that gets tricky because like freights, you need a lot.
Yeah,
you need a lot, and like
especially now you have to go bigger and bigger and cover people and fucking
everybody's going bigger now, and like you know, it's like even if you paint something clean, if it's too small, someone will be like, well, I can go over it and cover it completely, therefore I burned it, which is not the case.
No.
You know? And, you know, it's like, I've been freight canceled a couple times, so. No, I'm gonna be honest, dude. I've been freight canceled a couple times, so, like, yeah, dude, like, it's like, I already know what goes into that. Like, if you see a piece on a train and it's got some egregiously large background of hella bubbles and it reaches from ladder to door like perfectly and goes all the way up like 7 feet, you went over something, dude. You're not fooling anyone because I've played that fucking game, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I know what that means. It's like, oh yeah, we got to bring like 6 extra cans so we can do a fat background.
Yeah.
Because like it's one panel stamped and the other one's like lined out, but it's like it's OG. They're older dudes. It's just like freight beef is so fucking funny to me. Like, you got dudes in other states like, I'm gonna fire on you when I see you, bud. It's like, what the fuck? Y'all live like 2 states away. Like, you're not.
You're in a different
nothing.
time zone, bro. You're not gonna come out here
doing shit, dude. It's like, shit's so funny. The graffiti writers need to stand on business at all times.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's a freight culture is a very double-edged sword because it's like, I mean, me personally, like, freights to me is my favorite thing, and I understand preserving the old shit and seeing all that cool stuff, and you know, I don't go over anything that I literally I'm like, okay, I can burn it, you know. It's like I think it's fine to go into a yard and be like, fuck, I really can't paint anything today, you know, have to pick something, but at the same time I'm like, bruh, like, I went over your throat, like, suck a dick, dude. Yeah. Like, I did 3 colors, something in 3D, background, a character, shines, the whole 9 yards, text stuff, you know, like.
You ever go to 23rd Yard and paint?
Oh, yeah. So I used to live on 23rd and 22nd Street.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
okay.
For years. And so, like, I would just hit my bike down and you know, just go straight down there, and I caught so many shit, you know. So yeah, I definitely
like I have seen a couple riders, one of which is a very well-known freight rider, and I will not say his name because I will probably, if someone
I can bleep it out.
Mr. himself, this dude, I've seen him actually just hack out panels, and then he's like, well, we're gonna do a production on it. He, like, walked the line with a can, just spray it out.
Hacked it out ahead of time to be like, oh, it was already hacked.
And it's like, dude, like, and he's seeing him, like, witnessing him firsthand do it. It's just like, well, there's a sort of, like, calming, relaxing thing about that, where it's like, okay, even someone who's supposed to be considered arguably the greatest freight rider from this region, that's how his approach. Because essentially, it's like, not only is it clean sweep of getting rid of toy shit, but it's also like, look, man, like, some shit's just so old, it's already gone. You know, like, take a picture of it, appreciate it, but, like, you know, if it ain't you who's going over it, who could probably do a decent job of covering it, it might be some idiot who just rags it, you know, who just fucking goes and does some toy shit. And I think people, honestly, are more likely to preserve things that look more freshly painted. Rather than shit that looks good. You know, obviously, yes, you pay attention for the dead folks. I've seen other writers. I saw this one dude, and he was fucking going over a Buick, and somebody else had this panel on this, like, Baby Ridge RMN. I was like, why are you doing that? He's like, well, I'm going to do the whole thing. And I was like, I already know how this dude paints. He fucking uses sponges and bucket paint and all this shit.
Sponges.
Yeah, it's just fucking Ugor. Bad graffiti. But, like, you know, am I going to, like, beat this dude's ass about it for somebody I've never met just because I like this old piece of graffiti? Like, nah. It's not a big deal. It's not really a big deal. Everything is... It's temporal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking temporary. This shit, none of it is meant to last. There's no such thing as graffiti that should outlive you. Hopefully I would want to be able to outlive all of my pieces of graffiti. I'd like to hope. If I stop painting today, I'd like to hope I still outlive it. Because it's like, you know, I mean, it's one thing. Usually when you want to preserve a piece of graffiti because someone's dead, it's because they died prematurely. You know what I mean? It's because they died as a kid or in their 20s or some shit.
Yeah.
You know? And there are places where you can get your graffiti to run forever. Yeah. But the likelihood of people seeing it on a regular basis is low. It's not like, it's like if people are going to see it all the time, there's likely going to be one person who wants to go over it because they have to see it all the time. You know? Like, you know, think about it like that. It's like, if I do a throw up on this wall and every day 100 people look at it, especially writing Cumrag, someone's going to want to go paint over that. They want to cover it just because it's there. Yeah. They get tired of seeing it. Yeah. Now, if I go paint something in, like, a Caltrans chamber on an underpass that's, like, blocked from all view of anything.
Only riders will see it.
Only people who go in there are other people who potentially go either take pictures of it because they know it's there or they're going to go paint next to it. You know, that might run forever. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it runs forever. Nobody gets to look at it. Yeah. You know, and even if it were to get uncovered, you wouldn't be able to really see it because it's in a place that's not really that visible. It's like, you know, it's just it's a give and take, you know? I have a couple pieces like that in spots that are just like, those will be there long after I'm gone. Assuming there's no major earthquake or some shit, you know? Yeah. What were we talking about? Nice. Freight trains and shit.
We were talking about freight trains. I went to go look at I have a general list of questions that obviously I sent you. So I usually try to like think of things that, you know, depending when a thought ends.
I'm working my way through the timeline right now.
Yeah, no worries.
I mean, it's like...
So you're writing Sueños. We were talking about Sueños, and we were talking about obviously doing freight and how you were doing pieces and stuff like that, but you wanted to be a better all-around writer and focus on throws and stuff like that. I did want to ask, how did you come up with the concept of Cumrag? And then when you did it, I mean, at least from what I noticed, Cumrag was just all bombing and tagging and really in your face.
Basically, and it's... Like, I had a decent amount of time bombing with another word, because the first time I changed my word was when I started writing stop, or stopper, or stop it. I don't know if you remember seeing that. That was when I was living in San Francisco. So at the time, it was like 2012. Okay. I got 5150, tried to kill myself, and I was going through psychosis. I was like on and off of meds. This is basically, I was 21. Okay. I want to say 21 at the time. Gave up smoking weed for good. I was like, I'm done. Yeah. Can't do this anymore. It's causing too much stress on my mental health. Picked up smoking cigarettes, which is one of the biggest things I regret doing, but also one of my favorite pastimes. But you know, I changed my name. I was going through a lot of psychosis, and the reasoning, I will actually make myself very vulnerable here and tell this story just to like air out this, because it's my own dirty laundry and I don't give a shit because it's been so long. But I was going through so much psychosis at the time that I had voices and delusions telling me that I needed to change my name in order to get in US and DFW.
Oh.
And that's where Stop came from, because it was sort of like this whirlwind. And the way that schizophrenia works is like it creates thinking distortions, and your perception of reality is distorted.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that are happening upstairs are translating into your actions through everyday life, and they're usually based in things that are not real. And so I had a plethora of different basically people and entities like visiting me and talking to me and giving me things to like live my life off of. And there were so many weird coincidences happening at the time that I was like, well, I have to believe all this shit because it feels so real. Because it's not just like negative paranoid feelings. It's the widest range of all emotions under the sun. And a lot of that shit can be very convincing and prevent you from functioning in reality. But yeah, I had this idea. There were these voices telling me that basically it was like, you need to change your name, and then you're going to be the next person for US and DFW. And so I changed my name to Stop, and I started throwing up those crews, and people did not like that. They were not happy about that. The irony too is I became friends over time with some people from those crews, but like it was sort of like, well, because the weirdest thing that happened, right? At the time I was living in with some fellow students at SF State. None of them were writers. None of them knew writers. And I found a Bright sticker in my living room that I did not bring home. I just came home one day and this Bright sticker, I still have it. It's in a black book of mine, unpeeled, on my fucking coffee table in the living room. Don't know how it got there. Don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know where it came from. And that, it's like little shit like that, where it's like, I can't explain that. This is the closest thing I have. It's existing in reality.
Yeah.
So obviously something about this must be real. And, you know, that sort of spiraled and took this whole like, well, you know, and it's like you do all this like weird sort of like investigative research. Like the amount of identities I figured out from just looking at fucking pictures online and figuring out who's who from matching like outfits of different pictures on people's pages and shit.
Yeah.
You know, granted, I'm hyper obsessed with graffiti, so like that's what I'm fixating on, so that's what's manifesting in all these delusions. But like,
sure,
you know, straight up, I figured out who people were and what neighborhoods they were from based on just looking at pictures. And like, it's like, if I could take that much time to do that, who knows if authorities could do that? They couldn't, because cops are dumb. But you know, it's like it's wild and mind blowing, the shit that my brain would convince me of. And so I basically ran with this for like 3 months.
Okay.
And got into a lot of trouble. I was telling other people that I was like in my circle of friends, and essentially it came to a head. I never really got physically checked or like checked in person by anybody. But it got to the point where it's like I was so distraught that I was realizing that nothing in my life was actually making any sense. And it's because of how much I was like basically doing like smoking pot, you know, essentially, which is like, shit's strong, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
that's why I don't smoke weed anymore. You know, it's growing up in the 2000s when you're smoking Mexican Bammer.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I have a fun little head high in the back of my head, to like now you go into these shops and like the cheapest, most like lowest concentration is 25% THC.
Fucked up.
It's like, dude, you guys got any 3%?
Yeah.
You know, like I just want to like
we
laugh.
have this overpriced CBD, you know, it's like you're gonna spend all money on that shit. It's like,
no, it's crazy. That's why I don't smoke weed, because like, if they made like a 3 to 5% weed where I could sit here and just giggle at cartoons all day,
yeah,
I'd smoke still. But the fact that it's like, yo, I get high and I'm like, whew,
right? Like, am I gonna make it to tomorrow, dude? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
someone's gonna come busting through the door any second now, and I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah,
like, fuck, dude, I can't do that shit. Like,
no, and like living with like severe anxiety and paranoia is, it only heightens that. So it's like, yeah, I was just like, I was having way too many panic attacks like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, that's it, I'm done with weed. I can't, you know.
But yeah, like, I tried to kill myself, and I like came to terms with the fact that like nothing was making sense. I kept the name though.
Okay.
And at the time I was doing a lot of like basically like what I would call like these like solo hikes through San Francisco. I fucking walked the length of San Francisco over a period of like 6 months. Just I'd leave my house where I was living in Ingleside, and I'd just walk. I'd have a backpack full of paint. Sometimes I'd bring my skateboard, and I just would walk and just try and find things to paint on. And most of the time I found weird cut of yards and walls and shit. Because I'd just be like, what's back here? Oh, there's a hole in this fence. Let's see what's back here. You know, it's like 3 a.m. somewhere in like the dog patch or like, Excelsior or wherever the fuck. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the irony too is like I'd walk around with a backpack full of paint, but I'd be so paranoid I wasn't even really tagging that much.
No, really?
I was just walking because I was like, just, I've had like out of body experiences where I'd like be like either on a runner's high or just like so fatigued from walking where suddenly I'm looking at myself from the sky and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, and then like just as quickly as it happened, I'm back in my own body. It was weird shit, And like that's also why I love San Francisco. Because I think doing that, spending all that time by myself in a place that was new, because I'm basically winging it when I go out there. I'm like picking a street to walk and like figuring out what's at the end of the street with no real direction. Just seeing what's down there. And that shit's like one of the most important things I did in graffiti, because it made me realize it's like there's so much shit out there that's just hidden and like capable of you finding. You just have to go look for it. Like unfortunately it was a very dark time of my life, but like, it's like, dude, like I wouldn't trade that experience for nothing in this world. You know what I mean? That shit was like so special. And it came, I experienced it, that all happened, and then I moved on and I went forward and moved on with my life, because I can't fixate and dwell on shit like that. And, it's like, but SF is always going to have a special place in my heart when it comes to graffiti, because it's like, do you remember the spot? I think I talked about this spot in another interview, but basically like over by the 22nd Street Caltrain station.
Okay.
There's like there's the Muni yard, but then there's like the overpass up top at the end of the station heading inbound towards the city where it crosses over. Mm-hmm. And then it goes into that weird area of the dog patch that's kind of gentrified with all those new coffee shops and shit right by that park. There's like a dog park next to the Muni yard. So opposite side of the street. I think that is 22nd itself.
So like, not where the skates spot is, not the pipe yard and all that shit.
No,
it's on the like, opposite side of the.
It's like fuck, how do I explain it? I know the intersection, but I can't remember. It's like.
It's all good. I mean, I know the general area. I go hang out there a lot.
So there used to be a big ass abandoned building over there, and it was right next to the freeway.
Okay.
And between the building and the freeway was a yard. It was like, I would say as narrow as like from like where the bikes end to like where the TV is. It wasn't super wide.
Oh, okay. Shit.
But it was like this cutty yard. It was like a football field length, just tucked in this cut, and it had all these old pieces. And this spot, I just found that. I just was like, it looks like there's something back there.
Yeah. I
saw a trail of tags, essentially. I don't even remember how I got over the fence, because I know I climbed it. But, like, and then it's just, like, opens up this floodgates. And that's happened to me, like, 6 or 7 different times in San Francisco of just, like, stumbling upon a piecing spot that's been, like, untouched for, like, 5 years.
It's a great feeling.
that shit's the coolest shit ever. And like straight up, you just don't have that anymore because there's so many, like just shit's getting demolished. You know?
Yeah.
And if it's not getting demolished,
you know, they just actually approved to demolish the silos.
Oh man. Well, rest in peace to that. What are they gonna put? You know, they're gonna put there.
No, I have no idea, but
Probably how
I saw it on SF Gate, and I was just like, wow. I was like, R.I.P. to an era of graffiti.
I feel like they could somehow well, no, it's pretty fucked up in there. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, that shit is in rough condition.
Yeah.
And, I mean, do you know what the deal with them doing the fucking mural on the side of it, what that was all about?
No. I mean, I'm sure if I look into it, I could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember when they did do it, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, all right, well, there goes the silos. They're going to do something with it. And obviously they didn't do anything.
Not for a
but
while,
have you been in that area recently? I was actually just there the other day. And the reason why I went there was because, Gray came to visit the Bay Area. So I went over there, I talked to him and whatnot. And then I was like, I was telling him, I was like, I caught, there's a black fill, white outline, gray straight letter, and says 99 in the Y in the back of the silos. And I was like, I remember when I came across that, in like 2010, and I was just like, whoa, and I was so pumped. And I flicked it. It's on my Flickr somewhere. I got to find it. But after talking to Gray, I was like, I wonder if that's still there. And so I made the trip, and I went over there, and no, the whole entire outside is just completely buffed. It's gone. And I was just like, damn. I was like, fuck, I gotta find that flick. I gotta search for it. But I just like started peeking in, and I was like, man, I might hop in here. And then a bunch of bus drivers came out like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, all right, let me get the fuck out of here. But that mural is so fucking sunbathed now. It is like the black is just like peeking through. You can kind of see like the buff marks where they like, it's just crazy. I'm like, damn, it's so crazy that this place is gonna go.
I've been to that building one too many times. I think I definitely like wore out my welcome in there, and like not like I painted the roof like hella fucking times because I have like Cloud actually is someone who will come to town and he'll always want to go back there and do a piece there on the same spot because it's like, we probably got gone over. Let's just go paint that. And it's like, I don't want to do that. Like that place is not necessarily the most fun. It's got all this history that's like slowly just getting deleted. You know,
from
like,
so many
all
fucking
these kids going
dude.
in there and like.
I'm gonna bleep out his name, but this kid's. Yeah, he did this stupid little fucking Cyclops one-eyed.
Oh, he
cartoon.
spells it like that. Okay, not S, whatever. Yeah,
not Psy, like the sick ass bomber.
Yeah,
not that dude. Which actually is funny because Psy went over him one time and was like, "Stop it," and I was like, "Yo, that's so fire." But I fucking hate this kid, and he went over Maceo.
Oh, dude.
And I was just like, blood, how fucking stupid are you? And I seen him go over a Wiz TNT. I was just like, yo, I was like, you are not welcomed here, dog. Like, you're just so dumb. So, like, I know what you're talking about with, like, just fucking kids that don't get it and go over, like, spots like that. It's like, if it's a sun-bathed freight where literally you can barely tell the outline because the fill's completely gone because it was a silver from, like, 96. That sucks, but I'm not going to sit here and really fucking hold on to you. Yeah. But, like, a piece that's been there since, like, 97, still visible, and then you're just like,
I'm going to go over this. It doesn't look that tight. And it's like, well, you're just saying that because you don't have anywhere else to paint.
Yeah.
If it's the best spot in the room and it's taken, it's probably been there for a long time, dude.
Yeah.
Like, Maceo's actually tattooing my chest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's done we've been patching together shit for, like, almost like 10 years now.
That's sick.
It's really dope.
One time he did literally just a piece of paper and just did hella throwies. And I just commented, I was like, can I have that? And he was like, yeah, just shoot me your address.
Yeah.
And he sent me like that, a zine, and like hella of his like, American traditional patches.
Yeah.
I still have them to this day.
Right.
They're actually, I have his zine in my bookcase. And I was just like, dude, you don't know how, like, oh my god, I got a care package from Maceo. I reached out to him, but he just left me on red.
Yeah, I don't
I'd
know
love
what
to
his deal is,
I'd love to
dude.
have
Like,
him on the podcast because I
he's-
feel like OSD in general is just like such a factor in Bay Area
dude,
history.
OSD is like
Right.
influenced so much shit.
Right,
in
exactly.
my fucking graffiti, because like Nesta was just like so up in my neighborhood, like
Yeah.
with just like the cuttiest, weird, just the most beautiful graffiti in the world. You
No,
know?
I mean masters of paint, and so I'd love to talk to any of one. I bumped into it was Jern, Twigs, and Nesta. They were doing the spot actually, kind of by that area where you were talking about. And they were just painting the wall, and I threw it out there. I was like, hey man, if you want to hop on the thing, and he's like, yeah, we'll think about it, but I haven't got anything back. But
yeah.
if this goes out to the people that know people, Maceo, Nesta, any of the San Francisco outsiders,
Yeah.
I would love to have you on the podcast.
First time he tattooed me, I didn't even know he was a writer. He just was
Oh,
like,
really?
He's like, you do? I was like, oh yeah, I was up all night painting. He's like, you paint? I was like, yeah.
What you write, fool?
And yeah, like at the time I was still writing Stop. He had a picture of one of my throw ups on a van near his house.
No way.
And then at the end of the tattoo, he gave me I think probably the same zine that you might have, like a black and white zine
yeah.
with a bunch of old pictures from the 90s.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, dude, it's like and ever since I was like, oh yeah, you're doing everything in this region. I've been texting him, but he like doesn't answer his phone or some shit. I don't know. Like,
Well, the next time you get tatted from him, be like, hey, by the way.
I'll mention something for sure. Dude.
Yeah, throw it out there. I'd love to document his history.
But yeah, like, I mean, I got 5150'd, and I ended up dropping out of SF State. I moved to West Oakland.
Okay.
And this is like where shit sort of spins the wheel, because like the wheel, like, it's like shit's snowballing to some extent, but now it's starting to pick up speed at this point as far as like everything in the whirlwind, because something about being 5150, at least for me personally, it took me actually out of the psychosis state where like I realized shit's very real. And like, you would be surprised, although I do suffer from like, a delusional brain disorder, like I'm very much aware and in the moment and not lost
Sure.
anymore. And so like I'm living in West Oakland at this time. I moved in with Carb as well as Amoros, my two best friends, and we were also living with like maybe 3 other people. We had a couple people on our couch on a regular basis. It was basically a graffiti flop house.
Yeah.
And, this is sort of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the crazy era of time in West Oakland and the West Oakland graffiti writer party scene that existed.
What year?
This is like, I want to say 2012 to about 2014 or 15. Maybe
Where like all those
16.
warehouses were turned into parties?
Well, it's not so much of like specific locations, but the general overall community that existed in West Oakland.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was fixating, you're going to have to bleep this out, around house.
Okay.
He had like basically every East Bay writer, and some SF writers, but there were a lot of East Bay writers who would all gather at this guy's house.
Okay.
And, at the time, there were like people were selling drugs. Everyone was strung out, and it was a grand old time. It's like it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Animal was still alive.
Yeah.
And
rest in peace.
everybody was like basically. There was a routine, like Thursday through Saturday or Sunday sometimes too.
On a sick one.
Everyone would gather there
Yeah.
to start the night at Jesus' house. And then they would either migrate to whatever show or house party was happening in West Oakland. And then eventually people would make their way to that bar, the Ruby Room.
Okay.
Over time, people got 86 from Ruby Room, so then people were just hanging out at the library steps across the street. This is like, there was a whole this was like a thing that like graffiti writers did. And like, there was like no funk with anyone because everybody was all partying together.
Yeah.
And it brought together like, kids from like Pinole Hercules, kids from Richmond, like all these kids who fucking moved here from other ass places, East Coast, Pacific Northwest, down south in Texas, and like then there were a bunch of East Oakland hood fools and like riders from East Oakland who were hanging out. Like it was one big eclectic group of people, and it was a wild ass time, and it all ended pretty badly. I mean, not like badly in the sense of like, it's just like folks were fucking up, dude. We were all just on hella drugs.
Well, after a few years of
benders, like I met some of my greatest long friends to this day from this era. General group in this era of time. Like there was one time we all went to a fucking party in the lower bottoms, and I was filming this night. It was like a house party for like that some non-riders threw, and a bunch of riders showed up. We were all getting wasted. Someone started tagging inside the house, and then we all drifted outside of the street. And like, there's a gang. I have footage of this. There's a gang of riders, and they're all like painting on the building across the street, which was a church.
Oh fuck!
It was a church.
Was it like an abandoned church?
No, it was definitely a very active church.
Oh,
it just didn't look like it was active. It was fucked up, dude. And like everyone's wasted, so no one's paying attention. And then like the dude is coming out. He's like, "What the who like lives in the house?" He's like,
"Bro, it's a church."
He's like, "Yo, like, what are you guys doing? You guys tagging on my house? You're tagging on this building?" And they were like, "Well, fuck you." And like, Amoros is like over here, like, basically fighting with this dude while simultaneously tagging like Black Power AMO on this guy's house. And he's like yelling, "It's Black Power, nigga, Black Power, like, you can't fuck with me." And he's like, "Bro, this is my house." Like, I'm like filming this. And then some fool who lives in the neighborhood came out with a gun.
Well,
like, "Y'all gotta go." And pistol whipped one of the little homies.
Damn.
Nobody died or anything, but it was just fucking funny. And then sure enough, like the next day, we're like waking up all hungover and like on the news.
Like, yo, did this happen?
On the news, there's a fucking news clip of us like, it's like, oh yeah, vandals have like attacked a church. Just like, oh no, dude. And like, this is also like too, like, mind you, this is 666 money was in existence at this time.
Oh,
I wasn't in it. In it. But so like that crew was started by this dude Viking Ben. Viking Ben, who is all formerly known as Ben BTM, which I don't know if you may or may not have seen his graffiti.
Okay.
He's the dude who started this crew, and like that's the other thing that was dope about this, like, this community and this time period of like all these riders hanging out, is because this is what birthed what is known as the party crew, where like all these different graffiti crews popped up because all these different groups of graffiti riders were hanging out together, and then like two people would like really get close because they like share a bag of coke together for like 6 hours. They're like, "Yo, let's start a crew. Let's start a crew." And they put down hella homies in it. And there's like all like Ye Boys was part of that. It was like, what is it? Nasty Crew, fucking like all these different crews started
in that area,
and then they subsequently died.
Sure.
666 money was one of them, and it's crazy because like I didn't
realize they went that far back.
Like way back. I wasn't in it back then.
Yeah.
But one of my homies from that time period, this guy Poplock, he's still like a good close friend. I was with him last night.
Okay.
Like, and I think it was like maybe 3 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, I want to say. I was like, "Should we bring that back?" He's like, "You weren't even in it." I was like, "Yeah, but so like let's just revamp it." We started it up and we put down like hella younger kids, because like Ben's whole thing was like, he was like, "I want like the youth to be a part of this crew." And then like, so that sort of was my approach, is like, I want to put down younger riders. Like obviously I need a couple people in my era to like help hold it down, but like it's supposed to be like a crew for like younger folks.
Did you talk to Viking Ben and you're like, hey dog, we're gonna?
No, he's very much disconnected from everybody. Nobody.
Okay. So you were like, we're just
Instagram.
gonna rock it.
Yeah, we just did it, and we're kind of wondering if he's gonna be like, "Yo, what the fuck," or if he's gonna be.
So you never got the blessing.
Never really got the proper blessing.
So you put yourself in this crew.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I fucking, but like
fire.
Pop Lock was in it. And that's why I got him to be like, "Should we
Okay.
start it?" And he was like, "Started back again." He's like, "Yeah, let's fucking do it."
Okay.
And so, cause like, I mean, there's like mad dudes who are my homies who were already in it who are just like, "Oh, what? You're bringing this back? All right, that's what's up." Like,
Yeah.
because I'm like, that's something I've realized too about graffiti is like, there's no fucking rules, okay? Like, there's a general idea of how you do things,
Yeah.
but there's no real like fucking rules to it. So
Yeah.
like, you know, if you pick up something that has been long since neglected
Yeah.
and didn't really have a true legacy to it, except for like maybe what I would call the Zog factor to it, where it's just like, this is just some weird ass shit that someone was doing. There's no harm in that in my eyes. It's not like I'm going to start a crew that's called MSK. Like, I'm not going to do some dumbass shit like that.
Right.
But, like, if you pick up something that's, like...
But a party crew from 2012 that hasn't done shit in, like, 8 years.
Exactly.
Like,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's fine. That's fine. You know, it's like... And if,
I agree, yeah.
You know, it's like, at the end of the day, me and Viking Ben, we're, like, somewhat homies. I think he's been canceled, but, like, I don't fucking care. Like, you know what I mean? That dude was always... He was... Like...
I mean, it's something he started. I mean, look at what it is now, right?
Yeah,
It's like
dude,
Sixes run the bay.
And we can like, and like, it's like, honestly, it's like, it's paying homage in a way too, because it's
Right.
like, I'm still trying to keep it as authentic to what it once was, because like,
That's sick.
you know, it's like, he's like, we always got along. He's definitely like, he's funny. And like, if you look up his graffiti, you'll understand where the hilarity of it is. I think just search Ben BTM, because
That's
it's like,
literally what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hop on fucking
dude,
Flickr.
it's like, it's bad. It's like real bad. He fucking like, this shit's like, but it's like, that's like the specter of it. You know what I mean? Of how like you do this little Viking.
This is.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude. Hey, I don't need Viking Ben to beat my ass, bro. But like, come on.
I mean, it's like some Zog shit, dude. It's like it's just you gotta appreciate it for, because like,
I mean, the
he's
hands
like,
are cool.
They're not.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice.
Like, I mean, it's he's not a style writer, as
Yeah,
you would call it. He's like, because he would do shit like, there was this one fence in West Oakland at what people called the Crack Triangle, which was like over off San Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
There was, and it was called the Crack Triangle because at the time there were like hella dudes out there all night selling crack and selling different drugs.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't really paint in that area because people would check you instantly for coming near their block where they're clocking. And, like, this fool did a straight letter on their fence that they all stood in front of because he just was on some thug shit. Like, what's up? Like, I'm going to paint the fence, y'all. Is that cool? Because he's like, where's Prince from?
I don't know.
He's from the same town as Prince.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know, but I mean, obviously,
And
I'd seen it up like crazy.
And so, no, like Prince, like the singer.
Oh, Prince.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the writer.
No. Like
I was like,
Prince, like
Oh, like Purple Rain.
Doves Cry. Yeah, that dude. He's from that place, which is, I think, in Minnesota, right?
That's fire. Hold on,
And-
I'm gonna look this up right now. Prince. Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so
on
he's
point.
like, that's like where he's from, and so like he came out here. I don't even think he wrote graffiti. I mean, he was just like a hip hop homie.
And
Like,
then he
I've
just started
seen-
singing. He was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get up."
Like, I've seen this fool. He pulled up to a party one time on a skateboard with no grip tape, wearing like the Nike boots. You know those Nike boots they used to make, those patent leather boots that were like Nike.
No,
They were like, they're just
I've
search
never
like
been a
Nike
shoehead, bro.
boot, bro, dude. It's
I've basically
like
just
some
rocked
ridiculous
Vans
shit.
and Converse like my entire life.
I mean, me too. But like, it's like a just search Nike boot, and it's like a leather boot.
Oh my god,
Let me-
these things.
No. It's the black one.
Oh, okay. They sell them at Kohl's.
Yeah. So he pulled up in a pair of those on a skateboard with no grip tape.
I mean, these
Like,
things have
and,
grip by itself,
like
bro.
pushing Mongo, and I'm just like, bro, like you are the truth right now. Like this is some crazy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I fuck with that dude tough. A lot of people, like, I don't think really like him anymore.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but that ain't shit. I remember him for who he was when
Right.
we interacted, and I always appreciated him.
Viking
as a
Ben,
person.
man.
Yeah, definitely like the mysterious Cuddy lore crushed West Oakland, you
Yeah.
know, but that's who started the crew, and
Okay.
you know, years later we took it over and brought it back. But like
Sick.
this time period was weird because like I was living in this flop house,
Mm-hmm.
and this was sort of like the crazy part where it's like I started to realize that the shit that me and my friends were doing was going to send us into very bad places. Like it was like, you know, back then you could get a bag of blow for $20.
No, yeah. I was actually talking to a kid yesterday. He was like, "You're probably from the hyphy area, huh?" And I was like, "Bro, we used to get fucking pressed pills for like $2." And he's like,
dude.
"What?"
Cheap ass drugs with like no drugs in them. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're doing baby laxative and maybe a little bit of like B12,
exactly.
you know?
Fucking the coke shits.
And fucking.
It's so funny.
But like it was weird because like my two closest friends, I mean, they're already on wax for who they are, but they definitely started to pick up gnarly drug habits. Shit that was like, oh fuck, like this is, you know, because like my family always warned me. I had like child books when I was a kid that like taught of the dangers of crack and like shit like the coke. I had a book called The House That Crack Built, which was a nursery rhyme book that described the drug cocaine trade and how it goes from the cartel down to basically hand-to-hand dealers, and then how the CIA was also involved in its
The House That Crack Built.
The House That Crack Built.
I need to buy this.
Dude, look that book up. It's a cutty, weird,
that
kind of
sounds
dark, fucked up
awesome.
book. And I remember reading that when I was like 5 or 6 and not really understanding because like it's like childhood book
By Clark Taylor.
and like, you know, all the artwork in it's really dope too.
Yeah,
but like
this is wild.
they got like, I think all the junkies, they have like upside down heads and shit, you know, and it like talks about how like mothers are strung out and their babies are like without food and shit. Dark book, but important, you know, and like, you know, it's like I've had family members who have been strung out and like basically are either gone now or on the street completely crazy because, you know, X, Y, and Z reasons. So I already kind of knew the dangers of harder drugs.
Sure.
Yet I still had this like want to like be adventurous when it came to drugs. And at the time, my two closest friends were starting to develop habits that were like very dangerous. And I did a very self-righteous thing where I went completely sober. This was 2013, I believe.
Okay.
I went completely sober in an effort to sort of like show these two gentlemen who were my close friends that you could enjoy life and not be on drugs.
Yeah, you can still get out of that.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
I think there was other things that I've learned later on throughout the years. It's like there's other things that come into play with why they're not paying attention to what you're doing.
Sure.
You know, sort of an ego type of thing and sort of a thing where like people can't tell them what to do. But it's like I went sober for basically 2 years, completely sober, stopped drinking, like cold turkey, like overnight, just stopped drinking, stopped doing powder, stopped smoking weed, all this shit. And, you know, that I think was very important. It was like basically 21, 22 years old to like about 25, I think. And that was like, it was interesting because it also made me reach out and find new friends.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like
you can't vibe with those folks in a way, so it's like
I started drifting away and like, you know, be making a point to like go seek out other people, not even necessarily sober people, just other people, because I was getting kind of sick of the bullshit that was happening in my friend circle. There was a lot of, what do you call it? Just like negative behaviors, people doing shit like hooking up with exes and like getting too close to home, calling like a lot of freak outs and like violent lash outs and shit. A lot of shit was getting destroyed like, you know, bridges were starting to get set on fire essentially.
Yeah.
These are like friendships we've had for like, they're set in stone essentially, because these two gentlemen who are so close to me and I keep bringing up, like, they're people who are like, they're going to be in my life probably forever.
Yeah.
In some vein. I'm never going to completely cut them off. But when the behaviors start to change as we get older, you got to be able to, first off, not only have a wider variety of friends who do different types of things, because
Sure.
you can't just stay in the same area with the same people. You got to branch out so you can learn new things and continue to grow as a human, because the same friend group can get stale.
For sure.
You know? But, like, you know, I around that time, I was like, I got back into school, and I was basically, like, racking a bunch. I was racking a lot of spray paint. I always rack for necessity. I'm not one of these people who like considers themselves a professional thief. I think that's a fucking cop out. If you're a white person who steals for a living and you're a sane person who can function in reality, get a fucking job. Get a job. You have no excuse. This whole, like, I'm going to be a professional thief and, like, just do this whole, like, I can wake up and whenever I want because all I have to do is make sure I steal enough to survive is bullshit. Okay? Like, that's something yes, racking is important for graffiti writers to do at some point, but I also think you should be able to grow out of being a thief. Because you'll never value anything if you're a thief. In my eyes, you're always going to see things as disposable, expendable. You'll have nothing means nothing holds no merit to you. I also do not trust you as far as I can throw you if you're a thief. And I think there's a lot of kids who mistake that lifestyle as being like the one to do. It's like, oh yeah, I got to be on that whole regimen of like, I rack Arc'teryx and I sell spray paint that's stolen, and I do X, Y, and Z. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, do you have no fucking work ethic? And don't say that shit is work, because these motherfuckers get high on Xanax and go do that. Okay, like, let's be real. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think it served its purpose at one time in like the development of graffiti culture, and I think it's important for every kid who's doing graffiti to be able to rack.
Yeah,
I think that's important. But you got to be able to eventually make your own money, because you're not going to be able to rack forever.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do that forever. And I think a lot of people kind of use that as a fallback of, like, not really having to commit to go to work.
Yeah.
Not having to commit to work a job. You know, it's like
I think the unfortunate truth when it comes to racking is that, like, if you rack, which I'm not hating on, you know, because I grew up racking, obviously, as well. But like, you can't do it forever. No. And then when you can't do it forever,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to fall back on? And you have no experience in any industry. You haven't done shit. No one's going to give you the opportunity because you're older, you know? Like, there's so many things that, like, when you're in that rack life, you don't think of the future. Yeah. And I think a lot of kids in general don't think of the future. They think they're, like, you know, fucking immortal, and like, you know, it's like, oh, it's all good, but it's like, you have to think about bigger picture. You have to have a solid foundation. I'm not hating on racking, you know what I'm saying? Chicken cutlets, definitely racking.
It serves its purpose.
But, yeah, for
you know,
sure.
It serves
but, like,
its purpose at a certain
I hear
time.
You. Yeah.
You know, but I think it's like a lot of people get it twisted. Also, like, let's be real, like, a lot of the younger kids don't really know how to do it. They know how to do specifically what they do.
Yeah.
And that's why you get paint spots or racking spots for the prime goods that people want to steal. They blow up, and then it's like no longer a thing.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, I honestly think that the racking culture of the youth has affected how, you know, how people are like doing things like petty theft in San Francisco, and how like Walgreens is just closed now because so many people are just like, you just walk out with it, no one's gonna do anything. It's like, I don't know. If you're a smart person, you should learn a trade and be able to work. You know? Rack as well, but do both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I just think it's fucking.
I hear you.
Lame. And also, like, there's certain things you can't rack. Like, you can't rack a roof over your head.
Yeah.
You can't really rack drugs. You can, but you won't last long.
No, that's gonna come back real quick.
You know, as much as these graffiti writers love to do drugs, like, let's be real, you can't rack like your sack of coke. You can't rack your 8 a walk or whatever the fuck it is you're drinking.
Yeah.
You know, you can rack alcohol, but like you can't really get high and rack. You can't rack what you get high off of for too long because people will kill you for that. Like, let's be real, dude. Like, but yeah, man, like I was racking a bunch of spray paint, and like because of that I was doing a decent amount of trains, and I was like, I had a car at the time.
This is still within the 2012 to 2014 party area.
Yeah, I was back in San Francisco, but that era was still going, and like it was sort of coming to an end.
And this is around the time you developed Cumrag?
No, this is still not Cumrag.
Oh, okay.
I'm still writing Stop and then occasionally doing Sueños. And like, I was like basically doing like bombing with Stop.
Okay.
And then Sueños was on trains, and like, but I was like painting a lot in the city, and like I kind of learned how to like bomb from this era. Like I was painting a lot with this dude Cuss from STM, or he used to be STM.
Yeah. The dude that was like with Nina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was up up as fuck.
So we painted a lot together, and when he's like, he's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
So like he was the one who sort of put me onto this bombing style that is sort of a different style of bombing, but it's a very lucrative style if you want your picture taken and you want to be seen all the time, where it's basically like you regulate buff spots. You get them as quickly as they get buffed. So like you're basically banking on like 2-week runners essentially.
That's rough.
It's rough, and it's a lot of cycling through the same fucking spots, but basically we had this routine where like I get out of class, he'd get off work, he'd pick me up, and we would drive around in the same areas going from West Oakland, downtown Oakland, East Oakland, North Oakland. There were all these various spots that would get buffed every 2 weeks to 2 months.
Okay.
And we'd check up on all of them while the sun was still out. And if we saw that some of them got buffed, we took note of them. That night we go hit them, so we would get the longest amount of running time out of them. And we would do this over and over and over again. We do that, then we go paint all night. Then in the morning we would get beers. I had since relapsed at this time, because I think I lose track of the time periods. It may have actually been before. I'm not really sure, but there was like, we would get beers and we would hang out at the lake and make fun of people jogging around the lake in the morning while we're drinking street beers. And like, so I think this must be like 2016, because it's like, this is that time period, right? Adding up, right? Because it's like, he was like, yeah, you hold down the buff spots, and that allows you to basically capitalize, because all the buff spots are the same type of spots. They're high profile, high vision, usually in hot areas, so you have to be on point painting it. And even if they run for like just the weekend, there'll be so much traffic that goes by it.
Yeah. People
will see it. So like if you got a new throw up you want to showcase to people, you get 5 of those that night at different buff spots, which, I mean, you could arguably call these the jock spots of the East Bay.
Yeah.
Because people jock them. Because if it wasn't going to be us, like, it means so many times we did this shit.
Yeah.
We'd run into writers who were also coming to paint the spots.
Like, yo, I just seen they got buffed.
Yeah, and that was like, that's a type of bombing that I don't know if that's so much a thing in SF, but I know in Oakland that's like, you can up until a certain point you could capitalize on doing that and being up. It's like a temporary up though, because if you were to move or you would go to jail or somewhere happen where you can't paint,
Yeah.
The minute all that shit gets buffed, you're no longer in existence.
Yeah.
You know? And that's where like it helps to have like a horde of like tags that you do, you know, which is challenging to sort of like get those out there if you're not walking or on a bike, you know.
Sure.
If you're in a car all the time, you can't just be tagging like that unless you're jumping out and jumping back in. But like that was, I think, helpful because that's my approach now to painting in a new city. Essentially, is like when I travel to a new city, it's like, yeah, it's good to get runners, but like it's also like, you know, if I'm only in town for a week, right? Which I am still breaking into my realm of traveling because I haven't done that much traveling. I went to Philly for a week a couple months ago, and I told my homies who were taking me around in Philly, I was like, look, just take me to the shit that's like high profile, high vision, and we can film there, and I'll run for at least like a little bit. And they're like, oh, well, everything kind of runs. It was like, well, some shit's instant buff in Philly, but like, you know, it's chill. Like, it's not like you don't have to worry about cops. So like, we just ran that, and like, you know, people knew I came to town. Someone just sent me a picture of some shit today. I guess I still have shit running out there.
Sick.
But yeah, I think that approach is helpful for people who are just developing because you'll paint hot spots. It'll get you comfortable painting shit that's hot, so you can develop a style that you can do quickly or you can do with efficiency.
And even if it comes out whack, it gets gone over, and then you can come back.
If it's whack, you'll get buffed. You'll come back, do it again, do it better next time. You know what I mean? Like it's like I think younger writers, newer writers shouldn't focus on their shit running. You should just focus on getting comfortable painting and making your shit look good. You know?
Yeah. So then, with this whole area, how did you develop Cumrag?
Cumrag, I mean, Cumrag came actually like I want to say like 5 years after this, but like Cumrag basically. So, I was trying to think of like a 3 or 4 letter name, and I say that Cumrag is remixed to Ignition because there's an interview with R. Kelly where he describes how he wrote Remix to Ignition and how he actually wrote the remix before he wrote Ignition.
Oh.
It's stupid. He's just fried and an idiot. But essentially, like, Cumrag is Ignition, but I came up with Come On first, CMON.
Okay.
Which is sort of the remix, but I did that for a short spell. But that was what came first, and I was like, well, there's Come On. Well, what about Come? Like CUM instead of CMON.
Yeah. And
then Come morphed into Cumrag. And I think the symbolism behind it is sort of the nature of what graffiti is. You know? Okay. It's a very impulsive act that I think a lot of people do. I think we as graffiti writers don't realize that we very much are getting off when we're doing it.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's a huge factor. No one ever likes to hear that either. They never like it when I bring that up. It's like, oh yeah, you are getting off to this. Like, we are all getting off to this shit. Like, it's like,
for sure.
100%. You're getting your sick little kicks from going and like writing your little name and the way you like to do it on somebody else's property, so another graffiti writer can come by and see it later. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're getting off to this.
Yeah.
You're getting your sick fucking kicks destroying other people's property.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's exactly what you're doing. The world is your Cumrag. You're jerking off in public. It's like, and that's like, I think, sort of the fun part about it. Now, the influence for this name, so this was actually Crud's side word. You know Crud, BKF?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't know.
CRUD.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that one of his side words back in the day was cum, and I saw some pictures that he had posted of crud and cum tags, and I think I subconsciously took it from crud.
Okay.
I believe I did. I'm not 100% certain, but Eric, Eric, JDI, HCM, he knows crud, and he was like, yeah, I think that dude was writing that word for a little bit, and I vaguely remember seeing it. So it's like, it's one of these instances where it's like, I was influenced, but I didn't know I was influenced, and that's cool, because, you know, I mean, it's like, man, shit, now that I'm really reflecting on it, I steal a lot of shit from people. I'm my own fucking thief, dude.
No, but hey, man, you know, you're being influenced by other people, but you mean, always do it in your own way. You know?
Yeah,
so even if this guy was writing Cum, you're doing Cumrag, and
shit, you know
who doesn't do a short version of like what they do? You know?
Honestly, it's like, you gotta pay homage too, because I'm not gonna act like, I mean, what, man, like, you think I was the first nigga to discover doing graffiti? Like, no, dude,
right.
Like, this shit was given to me. Someone blessed it of me being understanding of what it now is, and so it's like nothing under the sun is original.
Yeah.
In the same way, you go to LA, you go to Philly, you go to Chicago. Every writer who's out here, there's one in Philly, there's one in LA, there's one in Chicago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there are different versions of us all over the place.
Right.
So no one's really the first one. You know,
I totally
Cornbread is the only first one.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, I don't know, like, I got no shame in that. I'm gonna be real with where that shit comes from. And also, it's like, I'm very much fried. So like, a lot of this shit, I don't even realize it until I do my own introspective research on myself and where shit comes from and put pieces together.
Right.
Because I'll like get an idea about something, forget about it for like 2 years, and then suddenly think it's a fresh new idea and run with it. And it's like, oh no, wait, you had this idea that came from this place way long ago. If you really fixate on it, because, you know, it's like, I'm just influenced by the things that are around me, and maybe sometimes positively, maybe sometimes negatively, but I definitely would say I'm influenced by shit.
I think that's cool, man. I mean, you know, one of the questions I always ask is like, what influences you? You know, because I mean, there's so many things in this world that are even just outside of graffiti that you might look at and you'll be like, damn, that's sick. And then you might take those ideas subconsciously because it's a part of your own experience in life. Mm-hmm. You know, it becomes a thing. I
mean, I would definitely say I'm influenced by like, just like the essence of shit. You know what I mean? If I hear a song that makes me feel a certain way, that definitely influences me to do graffiti.
Yeah.
And like in a specific way, you know, or if I like see a picture of a place that like evokes the feeling. I'm also influenced a lot by the kids, dude. Like,
yeah,
the kids are a big motivating factor. When I see young kids doing shit in a way that I like and I approve of,
yeah,
it makes me want to go paint. It makes me want to go get active, you know?
Yeah.
That shit's so fucking cool. When I like stumble across shit on YouTube, it's like, oh, there's some random kid from like some other ass place, and he made a little video of him painting. And it's like, oh yeah, now I want to go paint. Now I want to go do that. This dude's he did his tag on this brick wall, and he put this cool song over it, and it's like nighttime.
Yeah,
dude,
such
that
a vibe.
Shit makes me want to go out and do the same thing, dude. It's like,
yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of old dudes who want to be the influence. It's like, you're not going to influence people in your age group. You're going to influence younger kids. And I think as you get older, it's important to be motivated and hyped somewhat on the younger generations.
I think that's full circle, though. I think that's really cool that, you know, you being an older writer, it's like you're influencing young kids, but simultaneously it's very humbling on your part to be like, you know what, though, I'm being fucking influenced from these kids. So it's a give and take in a good way.
Yeah. Can we take a break?
Yeah, man.
I gotta smoke a cig and I need some more water.
Yeah, it's all good, dude. Yeah. Well, quick commercial break. Catching tags is your shit.
Oh.
Yeah. And I have like an entire block of 228, so if you want to like keep tagging.
Yo, like, one of the most enjoyable things I would say when it comes to like questionably bad behavior is like getting a bag of coke, sitting down for hours
and just making stickers.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Do a little ASMR on the soda.
Yeah, man. This is like, I got like big box that I collect people's stickers, but I don't ever put them up.
Yeah. Well, so my plan is that. Oh, and by the way, and obviously you're more than invited. But November 22nd. Well, this is going to be past tense, obviously, since it's like people can listen to this podcast years and years later. But November 22nd, 2024, I'm doing the All in the Bag podcast art show.
Oh shit!
So everyone that's been on the podcast, so I'd love for you to be in it, of course.
Yeah.
But one day I want to do a 228 show, and just literally have 228s of like everyone, all my friends. I can get you a better Sharpie. That one looks like it's dying out.
So one thing I've noticed for like, because this is like the perfect size priority mail, but like.
Yeah, they used to be way smaller. Remember, like 2013.
Yeah. Smaller ones are harder, but like. These I like using an oil-based marker.
Oh, really?
It definitely is not good for the longevity of the sticker because it'll probably eat away at it, but like...
Yeah. So one thing I did want to ask you is speaking of different names, is I absolutely love KQED.
That is a fun name. That's like my piecing name. That's the one I've been doing with... mostly on trains.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I love that you always add the 88.5. That shit cracks me up.
Unfortunately, I mean, I would bomb with that name, but I did not really develop a good throw-up for it to do quickly.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been bad at throw-ups. Like...
Really?
It took me, I like my Cumrag throw-up, or the cum throw-up that I do. Yeah. And I couldn't really come up with a rendition that said Cumrag, so I was doing it. I'll just leave it at CUM.
Yeah.
It's faster, it's smaller. I can stretch it to make it bigger if I need to fit a bigger space. Mm-hmm. And I can do that shit so fucking fast where it's like, if I have to think about extra letters, then shit starts going slower, and then I don't get a fluid motion, because, like, the time it takes me to do 2 throw-ups, most people just do 1. You know?
Sick. How'd you even come up with the idea of doing KQED?
Well, it's locally based. It's like,
for sure.
It's it's the Bay Area's broadcast of KQED, or National Public Radio, NPR, and like, I grew up listening to KQED on the radio, and then also their TV station played like Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow, all this stuff that has ties to my childhood. So like, and they've existed, I think, they've been around since like the 70s maybe, or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So like it's just like it's a very true to the Bay type thing, and like that's like, I want people to, at the end of the day, I want to be known as a Bay Area writer.
1954.
1954. Oh, shit. Okay.
That's been around.
Like, I'm proud of where I am from. Although I'm tired of it here. Oh, can I fit it? Barely.
So I did want to hit some of the user-submitted questions.
Yeah.
I love that. You just hear, like, the tag ASMR.
Yeah, I'll fuck this one
up. So obviously we already talked about name inspiration, but Cuck Toaster 01 says, what is your favorite tagging device and surface?
Favorite tagging device and surface? Well, I have go-to tagging devices, and then I have my favorite. And I would say my go-to, I always have a Uni PX30 on me. All the time. Silver specifically. Black is fun, but silver, like black is a black PX30 is what I would use for stickers typically, because you can guarantee that it's a solid black line for a really long time. It doesn't really run out quickly on paper.
Sure.
But the silver ones are really fun. Now, I would probably say the most enjoyable thing I like tagging with is probably a streaker.
Okay.
Because it's just a little bit more forgiving.
Okay.
Because I've noticed with like the silver markers, you tag on one thing that's like dusty or greasy, you can fuck your nib up, and then the marker will never work after that.
No, you got to be very strategic in like the really smooth surfaces that you hit.
That dude Issue is, he's notorious for tagging with all sorts of different utensils, and he's very anal about like what he tags on with what surface and what marker, and he's like, I'm not going to use this marker on that surface because my tag won't be perfect and crispy. So I would honestly have to say probably a streaker, but like when it comes to like mean streak versus Sakura, so I was going through a lot of mean streaks the past couple months, like the Sharpie brand ones, the ones that are like a little bit bigger.
You know, it's funny. Me and my wife just had a debate about this. She was like, I fucking hate mean streaks.
They suck.
Yeah.
I know a place where I can get them for cheap. They have the yellow ones as well.
Yeah, and they're, you know, you can rack them in a couple places.
They're cakey. They're cakey,
they're
and if
softer.
they sit on the shelf for too long, they'll do this weird thing where they break off.
Oh yeah.
Like you'll be tagging, and then a big chunk will just come off in your tag, and then you'll have to like twist it up. Like I've noticed the Sakuras stay solid longer.
Yeah.
And they keep that steady like nib, you know. So probably a streaker, I'd say.
Okay.
Sakura.
I'm retarded _. When painting a box truck, has an owner ever seen you write "come" on his shit?
So there was this one time
I love it.
I was painting a box truck in Hayward, deep off of we were off Hesperian, I think. No, we were off Mission.
Okay.
Deep in Hayward, not too far from where the La Vix is out there.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know
I
what
know.
I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly.
And
Orange sauce.
dude, that shit's so good. Like we were painting this box truck, but there were like 3 of us,
Yeah.
maybe 4 of us. Hydro, Chubby, Flu, and myself, and we're all painting this box truck. It's parked in like a side parking lot next to dude's house. And I'm on the inside of his, like between the fence and his truck.
Oh, okay.
The other one dude's on the back,
Hitting
other
the street
dude's
side.
on the street side.
All right.
Suddenly some dude comes out in his underwear and he just shoots at the ground, and we all start running. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, pow! And then this dude chases us in his skivvies, no shoes on, for like hella blocks. We're like running down this major street. It's like super early in the morning. We all got away. We all got away fine.
Yeah.
And I don't think he saw what I was writing.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's the closest call I've ever had of somebody seeing me tagging on their truck.
Damn.
You know, usually I will try and basically like, if I'm painting a box truck, I don't love box trucks. I'm like, I gotta go check inside to make sure nobody's in there.
Yeah.
And then you gotta look on the back, and if the back door, the roll-up door on the back, if there's a lock that's locked, then nobody's living inside.
Yeah.
That's another thing, is sometimes people will be living inside of them, and they'll start
for sure.
banging on the side of the truck because they know you're painting it and they smell the fumes.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever caught me where they're like reading it and they're like, that says come, because I'm sure anyone who would ever see that would probably fuck me up, you know. But also, people don't really try and step to me if I'm painting their shit, I've noticed, unless they are like, people will let you know quickly when interacting with them if they're gonna do anything physical to you.
Yeah.
You can usually tell in the first couple seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Here, some advice. Astro Boy 48 says, blessings, bro. I was just wondering, how is the best way to get started in the Oakland area?
In Oakland? Shit, in Oakland.
You don't have to.
Get some paint, just start painting, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best advice to get started. Shit, anywhere. Put in that footwork. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. If any place that you go to, whether it be Oakland, San Francisco, whatever, everybody's got a phone with a camera. Take pictures. Take pictures of everything. If it's one thing if you want to get started in an area you've never been to, but you know how to paint, because then all you have to do is really just do what you already know how to do. If you're not familiar with the process, get some markers, get on foot. You don't need to get a whole bunch of spray paint. You don't need to get active on spots. It would make more sense if you start just tagging.
Yeah.
And just tagging with markers.
Yeah.
If your ability to tag with a marker will eventually translate to a spray can, but if you do not have the style to be rocking spots, if you don't know who you can and can't, or what you can and can't go over, I would suggest not picking up spray. You should just be on foot and just document everything, because the more you take pictures, you'll start to notice the patterns of how people paint and what people paint and what kind of spots people paint, and it'll start to make sense to you. And I think it's like that. If the kids are gung ho to do the best shit, you know, so don't you gotta crawl before you can walk. You gotta walk before you can run. You know.
Word. Justin_A_field. Justin a field says, "What's your spirit animal?"
Possum.
A possum.
Yeah.
Possums are sick.
Or a beaver.
Beaver.
Possum or beaver. Some sort of oversized rodent.
Yeah.
But I'm not a rat. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a rat. But
Yeah.
Oversized.
Rodents are sick, man.
Yeah, dude. Something like kind of small, kind of cuddly, also harmless to some extent.
Yeah.
You know, I would say a cat, but like I'm not really like a cat. I mean, I love cats. They're my favorite pet. But like, I'm not. My essence is not a cat. I would definitely say like either a possum or a beaver, because I'm kind of trash. You know, I'm trash, and I like to work on things. And
you know, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm the trash man.
Exactly.
Let's see here. AG06 RPM. What's the longest you've used one Cumrag for?
I mean, I'm still working on my first one, dude.
You've had the same Cumrag for a few years?
No, I just, in the metaphorical sense of it being graffiti related, it's still the same Cumrag. But in the literal sense of where I jizz, it's always a sock, one and done, baby. Like, you know, you get that shit, you do it, you fucking
wash your sock after.
Bottom of the hamper, you know. All the black socks in my house are for personal reasons, and I only wear white socks or no socks. It's too hot right now to wear socks anyway.
I love it. I use a t-shirt.
I mean, it's like, dude, you should be doing laundry on a regular basis where you can just...
You don't have to worry about fucking...
Yeah.
Come on your socks all the time.
Dude. Just like, you gotta have a hamper. Make sure you're doing your laundry on a regular basis and making sure you pick up all your laundry. Don't leave shit to like fester.
Word. Let's see here. Courtesy Ride says, "Do you fuck with BSR?"
Y'all need to fill in solid. Y'all need to make your fills more solid.
Yo, add me to that chat, man. I fucking someone threw me in that chat, and I'm too old, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't understand, you know? So I was part of that chat, and then I look, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's like 30 conversations happening. This is so hectic. And then like, you know, just people running their mouths and all this shit. And then I was just like, I didn't even know how the fuck I got on here. And then I exited the group. And then I was talking to this kid who writes Jared. And he was telling me about BSR, and he was telling me all these things, and I was hella laughing, and I was like, you know, I was a part of that at one time. And he's like, bro, you should hop back on. And I was like, all right. So then I hit up, I forget who. Oh, I think I hit up Orca, and I was like, Orca.
Wait, they have a chat?
BSR chat?
I don't know what that is.
Oh.
No, I thought BSR is a crew, right?
No, so BSR is a chat that these kids are hitting up. To my knowledge.
Oh, so BSR is a chat, and they're hitting it up like it's a crew.
Yeah,
I did not realize, because I am not in the I had no clue.
That's how I'm taking it. I could be completely wrong, but I was a part of the BSR chat, and then I seen hella fools hit up BSR, and I was like, is that chat thing? And someone was like, yeah. And I was like, that's so funny you guys are writing that like if it's
I know who this person is who asked that question. And so this is all news to me that it is a chat, because I'm only aware of it being, I thought it was a crew,
a graffiti crew, like all the youngins,
basically Junior and Extra, who I see in the East Bay hitting it up,
and
a couple other, like maybe threesome or something.
So, to my knowledge, it started as a joke because it was a group chat. This is what I was told. But, you know that kid Rome?
Yeah.
From SF?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it stands for Big Sexy Rome.
Oh, no.
And so it became a joke, but now it's just became like this huge chat. So for anyone that's outside of the Bay Area that's like completely confused about what we're talking about.
This is some cuddy lore, dude.
Yeah, this is just like, yeah, it really is. But these kids, dude, like literally children that are all fucking, and if anyone goes on my Instagram chat or Instagram account and sees that video of like all these kids fucking doing bus flow on the Muni, I don't know if you saw that one, but
I did.
Okay, so yeah, so like all those fools are hitting up BSR and shit like that. Yeah, it's just a chat group of just a bunch of fucking kids from around the Bay Area, and they all just sit there and fucking throw their fucking opinions and post pictures. It's like, crazy hectic. It's like 100 people in the chat. It's just like so insane.
Much.
And you know, my old ass was like, "What the fuck is going on? How did I even get in here?"
So nobody invited me to the group chat. Which, if you hear this, do not fucking invite me to that group chat. Don't do it. But
nah, see, I'm on the opposite. I'm like, throw me back in. I want the cheese man.
There's a couple other group chats that are like that. I have I'm in an X-rated chat that's got a wide variety of people. like none of these people also like really know each other in real life.
That's
We're all
hilarious.
just homies, and like I've been adding people to this horny chat. I'm like, yeah, you're in. But then there's also apparently the O2M chat, which I was in for like maybe 5 minutes. Is like equal size. It's like I think like something like 200 people or some crazy shit. It's like some ridiculous amount of people, and like
yeah,
it's just like you can't get a word in edgewise because it's constantly messages popping up.
No, I know, and that's how this was, and that's why I was like, what the fuck?
Turn notifications off.
Yeah. Definitely mute that chat, but you know, hop in it once in a while to get some lore, or like whatever's going on, or someone saying something. I just thought it was fucking hilarious, and I was like, all right, throw me back in. So whoever the admin on that shit, someone requested me.
Yeah.
Approve that shit, homie. Let me get in there.
You got any more questions for me?
Oh, dude, I got so many. Marco Martinez says, 2-part question. What material is the rag made out of? A do-rag or a wave cap?
Same thing.
This is the
Do-rag
sock.
and wave cap is the same thing.
Oh, word.
Basically, they're almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, but I
feel like that'd be
because I'm bald. I don't have any hair, so
yeah.
Neither. What's the second part of that question?
Oh, I think it was. I think it was 2-part question. It was, what was the material made out of? And is it? Oh, I think it's. Sorry, I read that wrong. I think what is the material made out of the Cumrag, which obviously it's a sock, and then he's asking a do rag or a wave cap.
Oh, I see. No, it's just sock.
All right, word. Had you had hair, would you rock the do rag?
No, I don't. The hair's weird. It's like I can't. I like being bald.
Yeah.
My hairline's so far pushed back. It's like I can't.
Yeah, I feel it.
Never been one for hair.
All right, let's see here. Slay Area says, who were some of your favorite East Bay writers growing up? Who had the biggest influences?
You know, I think you actually had a question like that on your list of questions, because I definitely like, as far as East Bay writers, it depends on what era of time we're talking about, because like I think one of the earlier people I looked at for my piecing influences when I was younger was like Prize.
Okay.
You know, rest in peace from I think
GFC?
TNS. GFC, I think it was GFC around back then, or was it TNS back then? Like, but Prize was like one of these, because I found a stash of photos of his on Flickr, and I was like, oh, this dude's dope. He does like basically what I wanted my shit to look like at the time. I've since grown out. I mean, and that's basically rooted in classic East Bay funk, you know, which has ties from New York, but like,
yeah, I mean, you mentioned Crash, and I was like,
Crash definitely would also be something. But like, as I got older, I kind of got more into the like Euro funk. Like, someone who has given me a lot of influence on the shit that I do, Dement.
Okay.
And Ron. You know?
Yeah.
Like, totally those two. Like, and, you know, I finally got to paint with Enron last year, which was, like, wonderful.
Yeah.
But I also had to keep that to myself because I didn't want to like ride his nuts too much. But like that was really dope. Like color schemes, structure of his letters, all that shit. And then we're talking like over the eras of his different styles that he's done, because he's done a couple other names too. He was writing "Excuse Me" for a second, XQSME, and then I think he wrote something else too. I can't quite remember, but like him, Dement is like Dement had a lot of shit in where I lived. You know, a lot of pieces up there, old pieces. And, like, you know, obviously, like, Nesta influenced a lot of my tagging.
Sure.
I get a lot of the tagging that it's influenced from, like, definitely, like, Jade, Nemel, Earsnot. A lot of dudes from Iraq, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I love the silver PX30, because it's
sure.
like, you know, Specie influenced my tags a lot. Or Specie, I don't know how you say it. But, like, dude, I mean, it's like, I think it, like, when it comes to style, it's good to take influence from the shit that's in your region.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to do your homework and learn about shit from other places. Because I can't be some dude who only does like TDK funk. You know, like it's good to know how to paint like that.
Sure.
You know. But I think that there's more to graffiti than just that. And
you should do one just to throw people off.
Oh, I have some styles. They work better with sueños rather than the Cumrag word. But it's there's more out there, and I think it's the regional graffiti, like getting stuck in your regional style, I think is unhealthy. I think it's really dope when you can pick up on shit from other places. Remember that dude who wrote Gator? G8R. Gator.
Oh,
SF.
G8R. Yeah.
Or Gator. He's an SF writer.
Yeah.
That dude, like, so dope. He didn't even, by the time, he was already gone by the time I was actually painting. I just remember seeing so many pictures of his shit, but that dude's, like, the sickest. Like, it's fucking dope. Like, good shit.
Deathbed says, do you carry a Cumrag with you when you go painting for good luck?
God damn it. Why does everybody have to ask these fucking questions?
Because, dude, that's your fucking name, bro. Everyone's going to ask you about Cumrag shit.
It's like, I mean, I'm not answering fucking shit.
Let's see here. Little Crybaby. Oh, Little Crybaby. What are your favorite letters to write/paint?
The letter E. Absolutely. Someone broke this down to me. We were all partying, Brock talking about graph. Every letter essentially has like two versions, the uppercase and the lowercase.
Sure.
E is the only one that has three versions, because there's uppercase fancy, and lowercase.
Oh.
There's uppercase is like that, and then uppercase fancy is the one that looks like a 3.
Yeah.
You know, or is shaped with more rounded.
Yeah.
Because they're two. It's the same letter, but it's a different essence of it.
Right.
And that translates across all boards, whether it be throw ups, tags, pieces, straight letters, anything.
Yeah.
So I'd say the letter E is definitely my. I mean, I have that shit tattooed on
Yeah,
me.
I see.
And
that's funny you say that. You know, I actually just kind of decided, like, 3 days ago. I was like, you know, I've been writing Myan 10 years now, and I've added an E once in a while, because I'll do Myan as with the main spell out, right?
Yeah.
But I've done Mien, and someone was like, dude, that's like chow mein. And so I started actually tagging chow above my M, so it's like when I do Mien, it does say chow mein. But I was like, but my N is like, that is an E. And then so yeah, literally like 3 days ago I was like, you know what, I think maybe this year or next year I'm really gonna focus on just writing Myen, because I love E's so much. They're so hard.
Yeah,
and you can do so much with them.
And then, like, you can stretch it or shrink it as much as you want.
Yeah.
You know, like, it fits into just about every space comfortably.
Yeah, I agree.
Best letter.
Yep.
Hands down.
Let's see here. Oh, I gotta ask this too. Just little crybaby also asked, glizzies at the crew barbecue, gay or nah?
Just make sure you eat, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, don't go to the crew barbecue and then just fucking hit the bolsita the whole time. You know what I mean? Or you get drunk and not eat anything. You know what I mean? Like, just eat. You know, straight the fuck up, dude. People go to the fucking crew barbecue and they don't eat anything.
Yeah.
They get wasted and then they wonder why they're fucking throwing up and passing out in the bushes and everybody's drawing on them. No, have 3 glizzies, bro. Have fucking 3. I'm like, that's one thing. Like, if I'm going to the crew barbecue, I'm getting everything.
That's funny
that they're making.
So Max Didn't Do It says, if you could paint with anyone in the world, past or present, who and why?
Fuck. You know, that's a very challenging question, and that is a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that question, and I don't know if I have an answer for it.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because I know who I would ideally want to have my graffiti next to, because I think it would complement and look good.
Okay.
Now, one thing I've learned is, although you may like someone's graffiti, when you paint with them, you may realize that you guys have 2 different styles of painting and it does not flow. And that is something that is sort of soul crushing that I've learned, where I've given people mad fucking chances where I'm like, okay, like, I like your style. Let's make this work. And you cover the whole ball of wax. You do throw ups, you go tagging, you take them to do trains, and it never clicks. And I think, honestly, I would sacrifice a good time. I would much rather have... No, I wouldn't. No, I would sacrifice our styles not looking good next to each other in an effort to have it be an enjoyable time. That's where I'm at. Because sometimes you don't know how people... You know, you may not know how someone paints. And it is a headache to deal with someone who sucks compared... Or sucks, like, just...
Technique-wise.
Not even technique-wise. It's someone who sucks just with their way that their order of operations.
Yeah.
You know? I got mad homies who I've, like, basically, like, yeah, I'd rather just kick it with this dude and, like, sketch or, like, drink beers or something else. I don't want to go paint with them. Because they, like, take, like, 10 hours to do a piece. Or they're, like, drinking the whole time and not painting.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's like into the wee hours of the morning, and they've barely done anything because they're so fixated on talking. Some people don't know how to handle themselves when heat comes. You know, it's very much like, if you have someone you can flow with and click with, which I don't know how that is with people I've never met. So I can't necessarily say I would want to paint with someone.
So let just for
get rid
question's
of all
sake,
that.
let's get rid of all that. The flow is great. The conversation is minimal. Not minimal, but good.
Yeah.
But, you know, the flow is right. You guys vibe each other and paint the exact same length of time. You can rock a fucking panel in, like, you know, 1 to 2 hours. Yeah. He's got to throw you down to 3 minutes.
That's still too long.
That's still too long? Jesus, all right.
You gotta be like a minute and a half max.
Okay.
I would probably, man, you know, shit, dude. Fuck, dude. That's like shit, tricky one.
Yeah. You don't have to answer it.
I want to answer it, but I'll come back to it.
Okay. Well, you can think on it.
Yeah.
Mike Literis says, pastor or carnitas?
Pastor.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Carnitas are too crunchy.
Fair enough. Bobby DeSober says, are hand styles more important than throws?
Hand styles are the most important.
Period.
Hands down. Hand styles are the most important. If you don't know how to tag, just stop or learn, you know? Because if you paint enough where you're lacking in your tags, just focus on that. And I will give you the keys right now, because it's a very simple process. You take a piece of paper and you get yourself a ballpoint pen and you fucking tag on the paper. And then when the paper's filled, you get a new piece of paper and you continue to tag. You just do it over and over and over again. And the reason I say a ballpoint pen is because a ballpoint pen, tagging with a ballpoint pen mimics a stock tip. It's a thin line.
Yeah.
It's not chisel. I think a lot of kids think if they want to learn how to tag, they need to get like a chisel tip marker and tag. And it's like, that's going to teach you how to tag with a chisel tip. And then when you try and tag with a stock tag, because you need to be able to take whatever it is that somebody hands you and be able to tag with it if your tags are good. Yeah. I can pick up any utensil that I know how to use. It's like I couldn't necessarily tag with like a quill and brush or a quill and pen, because I don't know how to use that because I've never really written with that before.
Right.
But even still, I could probably figure it out. But like a ballpoint pen is like, or a pencil, but a ballpoint pen is easier to see on the paper.
Right.
Pencil might get too light where you can't really see what you're doing. But a ballpoint pen is bold enough on a white piece of paper, and it's thin enough where you can do a big tag, small tag, medium-sized tag. Do that, and just do that over and over and over again. But hand styles for sure, most important.
Isaiah 32 says, old school or new school Bay Area, what do you prefer?
Old school, definitely old school. I mean, I love both. I think it's the progress of how it has blended into one another.
Yeah.
And every day I'm seeing new school things suddenly become old school.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool and unique to see. But there's something special about coming across something that is like so faded and then being able to decipher and see what it is. And that's really cool. And you have to look for that shit because a lot of that shit disappears quicker than you'd like.
Mystery Machine says, thoughts on vulgar names in graphs such as Cumrag?
Just spell it right.
Yeah.
Spell it correctly. I think if you're dropping vowels or consonants to make any word, it's a fucking cop-out, You're perpetuating this idea that graffiti writers are unintelligent. We are based in words. We are letter-based and word-based aficionados. So the least we should know how to do is fucking spell.
Word. Let's see. Have you ever had any beef with any other seaman writers, such as Jizz?
Oh no, dude. Someone was like a long time ago. I saw some comments pop up of someone was like trying to insinuate that me and Jizz beef. I know Jizz. I hope that dude's doing good. I don't know where he's at, but like I've met him in the past. He wrote Jizz long before I wrote Cum. So like,
yeah. Now, are they referring to Jizzo? Jugs?
No. Jizzo. I think Jizzo does. I don't think it's supposed to be. I don't think that dude's name is meant to be like nut.
Jizz.
Like I think it's supposed to be.
I was gonna say I've met Jizzo. He was a really nice guy.
There's the other dude Jizz Jiz. He used to paint with like fucking who the fuck did he paint with?
I'm sure if I see it, because that sounds very familiar.
I forgot where he was from.
Have you seen? Obviously shout out Jazzman, but have you seen Jizzman?
Jizzman? Wait, why does that sound familiar? I've seen Cum Man. I've seen this fucking asshole Cum Man.
Yeah.
From like wherever the fuck he's from, Canada or some shit.
Cum Man.
Cum Man. Yeah, that dude's he's got like 65,000 followers on Instagram.
Does he really?
He went viral for doing these really horrendous tags.
Yeah, Jizzman official.
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Bay Area shit.
Yeah. You see the junior floater?
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're out here.
But they're like biting Jazzman's letters, though. Kind of. I saw one.
Well, this is how they were looking at before.
Oh shit. Oh.
I don't know if someone did that for them, because if you literally look at their shit, it's like really bad.
Every time it's different.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if that's like an account where people.
It's a collective.
It's a collective or some shit.
Yeah. We are all Jizzman.
Yeah, like. I think I unintentionally put myself into that spectrum of like, what is it? The campy joke writers, the dudes who go off of one gimmick.
There's a lot of people that hate that kind of shit. Yeah,
it's like it makes a mockery of graffiti, and I think it's ironic that I'm actually doing like solid graffiti with this name that like, I mean, essentially the reason I write KQED also is because if I do get a position to like paint the side of somebody's business, I can't do a Cumrag piece on that.
Yeah,
I need a name that's
something that you can be like proud of,
present forward as like a portfolio to potentially get legal walls, because like that's one thing I will say too is like legal walls, if you get better and strive to do better graffiti, whether you're just a bomber or whether you do everything, legal walls will eventually come. Mm-hmm. And I just like painting. You know, I like painting. I'm not going to necessarily pass. Well, there was one time where I was like, I don't do legals because I'm in the streets and blah, 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 blah. I'm all about the gutter. And it's like, well, no, dude, I want to flex. And if I know that I can paint something decent, because I know now I'm confident in my abilities to paint something good.
Sure.
I think a lot of people cop out and say that they're bombers because they don't actually have the ability to paint nice looking things and don't want to try. You know, and it's like I got more respect for somebody who chooses to bomb but then could go piece than someone who just doesn't piece because they can't. You know.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh,
that makes sense.
Bomber for life until you get bored, and then you're not doing that no more. Like,
yeah. Burnt Toast 510 says ass or titties.
Titties, 100%.
Yeah.
I got a Freudian complex. I'll just be real about it. I want someone to suck on.
There you go.
Big baby.
Let's see here. Cocaine Smoothie says, if you could have dinner with any fictional character, who would it be and what would you serve them?
What would I serve them?
Yeah.
Any fictional character.
You got like a favorite cartoon?
Oh, wait, dude. Hold on. Well, I mean, you know, I would Shaggy and Scooby, but like not really, because Scooby's a dog, and I don't want
Shaggy's a stoner.
Yeah, I don't really want a dog at the dinner table because he's a dog at the end of the day. He's probably stinky, you know what I mean? But like, also, wait, who is somebody else too? I'm blanking right now. I mean, but I feel like they know all the best sandwich spots, and I'm a big fan of sandwiches. So
yeah.
But then like maybe like oh, that's funny. That's another dog. The dog from Tom and Jerry.
Oh, the bulldog.
The bulldog.
Yeah. What is his name?
What is his name? Butch or something, right? And it's another dog. I'm also not really. I think you know.
Spike.
And the little one because he's always got the cracking steaks, dude. Like, I think one of your questions is what would my last meal be?
Yeah.
100%.
A steak?
Ribeye steak, cooked medium rare.
There he is with the steak right there.
Yeah, dude. He looks kind of bummed in that one, but, you know.
Yeah.
That's like a ribeye steak, cooked medium rare with some sort of side of potatoes or...
Yeah.
That or the homie Knuckles' mom's pozole.
Oh, okay.
I had that at a JDI Thanksgiving dinner last year, and I think it's hands down the best pozole I had.
Yeah.
Ever.
There you go.
I also had it a day late because we woke up the next day. I made sure to grab some and bring it home.
Talo, bro.
So good.
Yeah. Pozole is always better the next day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to know.
All the flavors is just marinating and shit. No, yeah.
I hope we have it again this year.
Putting it out there in the world.
Yeah, shout out Knuckle and his family, dude. Like,
Capital T619 says, have you ever experienced anything paranormal, unexplainable while painting or exploring new spots?
Well, I described the out-of-body experience like an hour ago.
Yeah.
But then there was also this one time I had a very spiritual connection with a coyote. I was about to walk into, this is when I was living in Ingleside. About to walk into my apartment, and I see this humongous dog walking across the street. And I like panic because I was like, oh shit, this is like I thought it was a wolf. And this is a pretty big coyote, and we like looked at each other, and he just kept going.
Yeah,
but it was sort of like a
city coyotes don't give a fuck,
dude. It was really cool. It was like the coolest shit ever because he like was not fazed by me at all, and I was surprised that I was so exhausted from walking so long that I was not fazed by him either. And I was just like, yo, like, what's up?
What up, blood?
You know. I mean, that's definitely a healthy spiritual thing I've seen. Now, I've definitely seen a shit ton of things that like are really dark and gross I'd rather not repeat, but like
word,
just fucked up nasty shit.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
ZZZ face ZZZZ says, have you ever done a tag with an actual Cumrag?
No, dude. Fucking children asking these questions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. No, I have not. Okay.
Get Up Garden says, what's your favorite pants to wear while painting? I can never get that right, man. Such a struggle.
That's funny he asked that question because that actually is a real thing. Because I have various different like fashion, I wouldn't call them fashion, but different things I wear because I'll wear like skinny jeans.
Sure.
But I also will wear Dickies. One thing I will say is don't Ben Davis pants suck.
Ooh.
They're cool. They're cool looking. But
yeah.
So the Ben Davis pocket on the right side has that little coin pocket.
Right, yeah.
And that thing is the most annoying little pocket. Unless you get your shit with a waist size that's like 2 sizes too big. Every time you take your phone in and out of your pocket, it's gonna get caught on that fucking coin pocket.
Like the corner of it.
Basically just like they don't make a cut. They're the thing about Ben Davis pants is that they're like tight around the waist, or they fit like if you get a pair that fits perfectly on the waist,
yeah,
they get like tighter at the pockets and then they get wider when they go down.
Oh, okay.
So they're like really I don't know why they're such sought after work pants except for maybe the way that they look. I personally like Dickies. Dickies don't hold up well. Like these are Dickies and I had to cut them because they were like falling apart down below towards the ankles. They're like, they turn into sweats basically, so they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
I think those are also the Dickies you get at Walmart. Now, if you order them from like the website, there's 2 types.
Right. Yeah.
And if you order from like the Dickies website, they're a little bit more expensive, but they last a little bit longer. Those are comfortable. Anything you can get your hands in and out of your pockets with comfortably, I would say, is the best thing to wear. Also, dress for weather appropriate reasons. You know?
Sure.
If it's super hot like it is right now, I'm gonna be in shorts.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for because a lot of the user submitted questions were, for Tiger 420 Minion said, how long have you been doing graph? We've obviously talked about that you started in like 05. So there's a lot of questions like that like we've already touched base on all of those.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are all as far as user submitted questions.
Okay. I mean, there's a little bit more I wanted to touch on as far as
your episode,
lineage. Dude. I mean, it's like, fuck, dude. Like,
you want to run your notes?
Because, I mean, yeah, let's take a gander at my notes. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Because I was like, there's a lot of shit that, like, has happened in, like, I mean, what, 05 to now? That's 19 years, right?
Next year will be 20 years.
20 years. And that's like, that does not roll off the tongue in a very, I don't like the sound of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely like scary to say that because it's a long time. It's like,
it is a very long time.
Like, I'm 32. That's like more than half of my life now. And
yeah, I know, man. I hear you.
So let's see, it's like, I mean, essentially, like, there were people who influenced the things that I chose to do with my graffiti. Like, I met this dude, OC. We were homies. We were, like, close homies for a long fucking time. We did a lot of graffiti together, and we may not be on the best of terms now, but I will give him the credit. He helped me understand on how to conceptualize taking my tagging to another level as far as like breaking past just doing the same tag every time and being able to sort of like just get wicked and wild and like do something different, let go essentially of the need for it to be neat and perfect and actually just have it be stylized. And like there's this term so I was in this crew D-Bags for a little bit of time, and those guys are kind of like style wizards when it comes to tagging. They have a very specific style that's like influenced a lot of dudes from the East Bay who are not on some like bus flow shit, but they kind of still are on some bus flow shit. it touches more into like a Seattle sort of like Portland, Pacific Northwest style. But like those dudes are all like sort of tagging aficionados, and their whole thing is like there's this technique of deciphering the tag. So if you look at a tag that you like, you should be able to figure out how the person did the tag and what moves and lines,
like their motion and shit. That's funny. I love doing that. And
that is something that it gets very easy to do once you just really learn how to tag. And that's also, it's like that allows you to mimic someone's tag, so then you can therefore figure out what they're doing with their tags and apply it to your tags if you like their tagging style. There's people who also hide their motions and their tags, and that's even a whole other can of worms to open up, because that shit's like so fucking cool. They do that a lot in Philly. But yeah, OC kind of like he helped me take my tagging to another level, and it's like, the behavior behind it was not necessarily the healthiest behavior, but we definitely we were painting together and doing a lot of graffiti related things together for a long fucking time, and we sort of went our separate ways for X amount of reasons. I won't get into it, but there's at the time I basically went sober after being on cocaine every day for like 5 fucking years. I went sober again. This is the second time at it. And I did it mostly because I started to develop liver problems. I got like all these fucked up liver problems. Fatty liver, which was affecting my bladder. And then from there, it was like, that scared me into it, because that's basically a precursor to cirrhosis of the liver.
Shit.
And, so I went sober. At the time, I was living at my parents' house. And then I was seeing this girl. It was a really unhealthy girl. Bad news. Problem drinker. And I got sober with her. And shortly after getting sober, when I was living at my parents' house, I got raided.
Oh, shit.
I got raided by feds for non-graffiti related things. And Homeland Security kicked down my parents' door and was like, "What's up? Where's he at?" And so after that, my folks were like, "You gotta go." And so, which I'm still my parents are still very much in my, I'm house sitting for them right now. We've come to terms with what was going on at that time period.
Sure.
But what I will say is a lot of heavy cocaine use and hanging out with people who they don't necessarily have malicious intentions, but they are not smart. It can get you into a lot of trouble. Trusting dumb people. And people who are very convinced that what they believe is the truth is not actually the truth when it comes to the law. I won't go into the details of why I got raided, but it was related to loosely drug-related stuff. And so it was just bad things. But that actually sped up the process of me getting off probation, because apparently drug-related offenses are only a year's worth of probation if it's a misdemeanor. It got reduced to a misdemeanor. I was looking at serious prison time for something very, very stupid and naive. And got it reduced, ended up on misdemeanor probation for drug offense, which lasted a year, which I can do that without getting in trouble, no problem. Got off probation, and that was my first time getting off probation since I was 15. I was like 30 at the time. And, or 29 maybe, something like. But I was living with this girl because I had been booted from my folks' house. Sure. And, was working, and that's like basically right around COVID starts at that time. And, working this job, kind of making shit money. And, dealing with her bullshit, it kind of was pushing me to get out and go paint and utilize this time to be away from her and have an excuse to be away, because she was very much abusive and traumatized to the nines of just past shit in her childhood, which is not her fault, but it's also not my cross to bear either.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I was basically painting all the time and to escape her. And like, because of that, I was like, well, I've always kind of made videos. Why don't I just break out a camera and start filming shit? So I was filming on my cell phone for a while.
Okay.
And then I got a camera, like a handy cam, and I was filming with that. And I was just like cranking out like sometimes 2 videos a week. I have a dense YouTube catalog. I don't know if you've seen it.
Okay, so you know what? I don't think I have. And one of the question was I didn't understand it, but someone said, Little Crybaby says, also, can we get an updated Spotify playlist? The songs in your videos go hard.
Yeah, people. I'm gonna be honest right now. I gatekeep my music. I'll gatekeep my music. Womp. I know it's fucked up. But I also, it's like I shouldn't. And I tried to do this thing one time on YouTube where I made like
Shazam.
I tried to do like a fucking, what do you call it? Like a
playlist,
like a radio type thing where you basically mix a bunch of tracks together and make a video and put it up. It got flagged like 2 minutes after I posted it.
Yeah, nowadays it's so hard because like
pretty hard.
Copyrighted shit.
Everything's copywritten. But
yeah, Mixcloud is the only real website that you can actually use. Like if you're a DJ, it's not video; it's just pure music.
That's also my thing too. Is I'm not a DJ. I just have good taste in music, and I tried to do my own little mixing of like blending songs on like the video editor that I have.
Okay.
And I put like little like things in the video to like look at, but that shit got flagged super fast. I guess I could make a Spotify playlist, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's sort of like an if you know type of thing, and also like.
I wonder if you could just Shazam all the songs that you have in your.
You probably could. I mean, realistically, best way to do it: throw shit on YouTube on your TV, and when you hear a song that you like, just use Shazam on your phone, and it might work. It might have to be loud enough for it to process it, but like, I like to gatekeep that shit because it's like if you know the song, you're not gonna watch the video to hear the song. You're just gonna listen to the song, and you're not gonna watch my videos. I want you to watch that shit, dude. I want you to watch it. Like, what the fuck? Like, no.
That's hella funny.
Because there's like, and that all comes from like skate video shit too.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, it's like before I really discovered that you can like just look up the soundtrack to a skate video. It's like, oh, if I want to hear that song that I've only heard in this one video, I'm just gonna watch the video and then watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
Memorize the lyrics. And then you can type the lyrics into Google and figure out what the song is. You just have to know at least like 3 stanza. Pajo Lasso. Same as my Instagram. I think I just changed it. It's got like pictures of the Twin Towers on it or whatever. But I can send it to you too. It's like that's like
Pajo.
Pajolaso, which apparently Pajo Lasso is a slang term that means cocaine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Oh, Trillville.
Yeah. Trillville is, I think, the other title. But,
Yeah. I think I actually seen a bunch of your videos.
Probably.
Yeah.
I guess I get more traction than I'm really aware of, because I have people...
Dude, you got 3,000 or 3.5 thousand fucking subscribers. You should monetize this. Make money off your videos.
If I monetized it, that's when the music takes a shit, because that's the whole reason I can't get monetized
is because
all the music tracks are copywritten, and I think that's half of the allure of it. Also, it's like I think what is it, like every million views you get on something is like $1,000, and I think you have to be getting a minimum of like X amount of views for it to be
once you're a YouTube partner, you get paid a penny per view.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so if you have like your videos that make like 3.5 thousand views, that's $35.
Damn. Okay. You know what? Because I got some on there that have like 60,000 views.
Yeah, that would have been $600.
Dude, hold on. Yeah.
Or 60,000 views might have been $60.
I think
am I doing the math? Well, that's the thing. You can't use copyrighted music.
Yeah. So what I could do though is I know plenty of musicians, and I can use their music.
Yeah, as long as you get the authority and shit like that. You can, if it comes up for, like it's flagged, then you could be like, oh, I have permission from so-and-so, and then, then it gets removed and shit like that.
All right, that's
good to know. You should monetize your shit, man.
Do that. Do you have to buy like a premium account or something? To
No,
do that?
no. You did okay. So the requirement for I actually just became a YouTube partner, but the requirement for YouTube partner, there's two tiers. There's level 1 where you have 500 subscribers. You have 3,000 watch hours in 365 days.
Okay.
And then there's the second tier where it's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within 365 days. And then basically once you cross both those thresholds, so I'm the first level. The first level, the only way you can monetize and make money is if people subscribe to your account.
Yeah.
Like
that's the thing,
members only videos and shit like that.
I don't know if people are subscribing because
you have the subscribers, but I'm talking about like a paid subscription, right? Like a Patreon type shit.
Okay.
Most people are not going to do it, and I understand that. But once you pass that threshold of 1,000, then you can make an AdSense account, and then you can definitely monetize and get paid.
Shit.
I mean, shit, dude, $35 here and there,
Right? That is something. It's a little bit. It's like a dinner.
Man. But if you got 60,000 and shit, and you make like fucking, say you make $500 on a video one time, that's a couple of bills,
It's not bad.
That's your cell phone and then some.
Yeah. But yeah, like YouTube is basically that's where I'm putting all my shit. Because I was putting shit on Instagram because they have a video place. They have like a platform for videos. But like the Instagram one is clunky because it doesn't allow you to really upload. They want you to use their editing platform. To make reels and shit. It also caters to like the TikTok and
that trend, like trending sound bullshit.
Stuff that's like trending sounds, and then everything is like 30 seconds max. Because I like to put in time and effort. I like the editing process. I want to make
me too. Yeah.
Small films where you can sit down and chill, have something on. A lot of people who I know who aren't into graffiti watch, like my family friend, like my brother will put my videos on when he's just having like kick-its at his house.
Sick.
He'll put them on just playing in the background.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you put it on the playlist or you put on my like library and like, it's like, dude, I have like 100 some videos on there and a lot of them are like 15 minutes. That's a long amount of time. And like, it's all different shit. It's not rehashing anything new or anything old, it's like, and that's also like, there's no ads. I mean, there's not really ads.
Yeah. And
I like that too, because I know if you start monetizing, is now what they capitalize on. It's like giving you ad space, and I don't want to do that. Like I also, mind you, I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
I don't watch any TV. I don't follow any TV shows anymore.
No,
the only thing I watch is YouTube.
Me too.
Yeah.
I actually just finally said, I was having a conversation with Hellcat, and then he was just like, "Why don't you have YouTube Premium?" I was like, "It's the same $10 you'd spend with Netflix," and I was like, "Yeah, you're right."
Is it just $10?
Yeah, and it's like no ads, and then if you're watching something that is monetized, a portion of your $10 goes towards the person that you're watching.
Oh.
So like and the biggest thing for me is YouTube Music.
Yeah.
Because like when you're watching YouTube and you find that one random song that's not on Spotify or Apple Music, and as soon as you close your phone, it stops playing it, right?
Yeah.
So like I always find so many sick DJ sets because I'm really into like EDM.
YouTube. And I will say this much: Spotify fucking sucks.
Yeah,
Spotify's a devil.
I've paid, dude. I've paid Spotify for like since I've been like over. I think I started in like 2010. I started paying for it because I have like 80 fucking playlists that have been like curated over the years, and then it's like, man, I got into this label called Anjuna Deep. I love deep house music.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, it helps me, when you have like the same beat for like 2 hours, it helps me concentrate.
That's fair.
So like, once I started really getting into like really deep house, I started finding it and discovering other house DJs. And it's like, as soon as I fucking close my phone, it just pauses it,
Yeah.
But now it's like with YouTube Premium, I can literally have like all these curated playlists of just like all these dope ass like fucking 3-hour DJ sets. I'm like, oh, I see the value for me.
Way more productive with the ads not popping up. You can just like actually get in the zone. Like,
yeah, well, because I hate having to fucking wait those 5 seconds to skip, because they recently changed it to a minute.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
Oh, that
and
drives
then
me nuts.
They'll play like 3 in a row.
dude.
Like 3 fucking minute long ads in a row. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch TV because I don't want to see the ads. You know?
Yeah. So I finally caved in. I got it. I'll never go back.
Yeah.
I can't. Watching, because there's also things like, and I've talked about this guy in other podcasts. Have you ever heard of Gift Gus?
No.
He's this train hopper from Europe.
Okay.
I think he's from like Denmark. I forget where he's from, but he'll be like, "Oh, I want to go to the Baltic Sea," and he'll just train hop all the way to the Baltic Sea. And he gives you like cool little facts and shit like that of like whatever city he's like camping in. Okay. You know, on his way, he's like changing, different freight yards. Mm-hmm. Dude, his videos are like an hour, 2 hours long. So that's like
shit.
20,
so
30
he, like,
ads.
Talking while he's on the train or something?
Yeah, he's like vlogging like, okay, so we're hopping on this fucking train and we're going to head over here. We've been on this train for 14 hours. We should be getting off right before the city. And then he'll break into like hotel rooms and go all the way to the top roof and like pitch a tent on the roof of like a hotel. And then he'll wake up in the morning and be like, all right, so today I'm in fucking Bratislava. Bratislava was part of the Soviet Union from this time. And I'm just like, dude, you're very interesting.
Okay, that's impressive.
Yeah.
He's not like some oogle who's like strung out on heroin or something.
No. It's very interesting shit, dude. It's like, so I'm just like, dude, you're like National Geographic for grime balls.
Yeah.
That's tight.
That's pretty tight. That's pretty dope, dude.
But it's like a 1 hour thing, so it's like 20 fucking commercials in between, and it used to fucking kill me because I'd be so into this video. But now I'm like, I could just watch this, and it's like great.
Maybe I will make the switch, or just I mean, my brother did a family Spotify, so he's the one paying for it. So I guess I'll just
yeah.
But they dude, this Spotify's just like doing some cutty weird shit with music.
I hear you. I recently heard that they're really bad as far as how they actually take care of artists, and that's been like, I don't fuck with that. So like, I still pay for Spotify, but I've been highly debating now that I have YouTube Music. I'm like, why am I paying for this?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, being Guatemalan and having this like 300 fucking song playlist when I'm hanging out at my mom, she's like, mijo, put on your fucking playlist, and then it's like just fucking 3 hours of cumbia. Then it becomes really handy, so it's like that's what's up. And I hate listening to commercials during a playlist. I always make fun of my homie Steiner because he's like refuses to pay for Spotify. So it's like fucking hardcore, fucking, just local hardcore music. Someone dude screaming, sick ass breakdown. And it's like, want to get rid of ads? I'm like, bro.
You get rid of this shit, dude.
I'm like,
But getting back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, sorry. We're going on a tangent.
So like fucking, like YouTube is, I'm putting shit on YouTube and I'm like, I ended up leaving that girl, and I went to grow weed up in Vallejo, which I'll never do that again either. And, like, that was, like, when I was doing that, I put out a full-length DVD. I've made 5 volumes of the full-length DVD.
I bought one of them.
Yeah, that's right, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
They're tedious though.
Yeah.
Because I have to set aside at at least 8 months to film.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of background work.
It's a lot of filming. It's a lot of filming. It's a lot of going out. You have to be painting on a regular enough basis to keep the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can film them quickly. And usually I will kind of gauge how much footage I'm getting based on how many tapes I'm filming. Because I have various different cameras I use. Okay. I like them more when there's a mixed variety of like either high 8 or VHS-C or mini DV footage combined with like 1080 and 1080p footage either on my cell phone or on like the handy cam that I have. But I have like a huge collection of cameras. Those are all like sort of like my prized possessions, and like they work in various like some of them have more versatilities and stuff, but like it's like basically collect all this footage, and then when it comes time, and while I'm filming and going out and painting and shooting, I'm also gathering all of the music and all of the various samples of like found footage that I'll use and throw in there.
Now, also, because you're saying high VHS. I mean, you're also digitally converting all of this too, right?
Not personally. I go to a capture house to do it.
Oh, okay.
I used to, at one point, I was.
I'm gonna say that's a lot of work.
Because those things capture, like, you know, a high 8 tape is 2 hours long, and if you have 4 high 8 tapes, that's 8 hours of footage. And if, like, you know, it's like my buddy his dad has a high 8 tape deck, which is very rare to find.
Yeah.
And he has all the hookups to connect it to a modern computer. I think I broke it. I think I broke his. I don't.
Because you were just running it for so long.
Dude, there was one time I went over his house and we fucking like. I brought like an 8-ball of cocaine over, and this was like a couple of years ago, and we just did all these tapes at once, and we were just chilling in his fucking room, doing this shit at his dad's house, and ever since then, every time I've gone back to use the tape deck, it does this weird thing where like the tracking gets fucked up for the first 30 minutes of the tape.
Oh shit!
So it fucks with my that would be one thing if it just uploaded like that, but when the tracking fucks up on a tape deck and they're uploading it, it splits all the import, because usually it'll import in basically like 3 big ass clips that you have to scrub through and take the footage out when you're editing. But when the tracking gets messed up, it'll import 1,000 1-second clips or like millisecond clips, and then they're all basically unusable because you can't piece together like 10 of them in a row to get like 1 second of footage.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not reasonable. It works for like artistic purposes if you want to throw in like a millisecond of like a weird fucking camera glitch.
Yeah.
But it's not ideal. So now I just take everything to a capture house, which makes my shit just like
perfect
so
every
much
time.
Easier.
Yeah.
They have all the right shit to do it with, you know, and like it also just like, you know, you leave, like, I mean, people worry it's like, oh well, you know, they're getting all this graffiti footage, but it's like when I went to them the first time a couple years ago, I was like, you know, like some of my footage is illegal. There's definitely drug use and like, you know, vandalism and
kept it real
footage. I just told them, and they're like, we have seen everything under the sun. You know,
yeah, I got this porno from the 70s. I need you to
I'm
turn
sure
it into
they've
digital.
seen all sorts of nasty
snuff films and shit,
pornography and shit. Like, you know, like,
yeah,
they made it clear they don't really give a shit. I think they're also kind of on some hippy dippy shit where they're like kind of anti-establishment, so they like don't.
Yeah, that's tight.
They're not really down with cops, but like, so that's been pretty helpful.
Okay.
Granted, I'm sure they have an archive of everything I've probably given them because I have an account with them. You know,
Yeah.
I have my phone number and my email address at least, and I like go.
Damn.
They know what I look like in person. So, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't think they see the footage become of anything.
Yeah.
You know, they don't really know where it goes, and that's not their business. But like,
yeah,
those projects are really fun, and I basically that's like something that was initially what I did to keep graffiti fresh because it was starting to get stale. You know, like,
you meant for you and in general?
For me and in general, it's just like you know, it's like I've been painting San Francisco and Oakland for so fucking long now. It's like, how do I make this shit fun again?
Spice it up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's dope.
And you know, it's like, but I moved, was growing weed, and stopped doing that, moved to Berkeley, and I was living with Tiempo from Lords. You guys should probably interview him.
Oh, I've been reached out.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Him and an arrow.
Yeah.
I've reached out to them, and they're like, yeah, we'll get to you, and then.
I mean, they're kind of more, they keep their shit to themselves.
Yeah, no, listen, I respect anyone. There's a huge list of people that I'm like, I'd love to hear their story. I fuck with their art, you know, this and that. Tiempo and Arrow are, you know, factors in the Bay Area for sure. But at the end of the day, if people are like, I can't change that, you know.
You gotta respect their wishes.
Exactly. You know, I can't, you know, I'll never, you know, the people that are down, I'm grateful for the people that are down. It's been really an honor to document their history, their story, to bring an intimate, you know, way of listening, to be more connected to their graffiti. I think it's dope, and I would love to give, you know, a platform to all the writers that deserve it, but if they don't want to do it, you know, it's just one of those things I can't do.
I think sometimes maintaining the mystique of not really knowing what's up with someone is healthy too.
That's literally what someone told me like a month ago. I was like, dude, I'd love to have you on the podcast. He's like, yeah, but I really like the mysteriousness of my graffiti, and that would take it away if they know who I am. And I'm like, God damn it, bro.
I think that's healthy.
Yeah, I can't hate on it. So that's why I was like, word, well, you know, if you ever change your mind.
I mean, me personally, I have put myself on the internet countless times.
Yeah.
There's this dude, the other day I was at Desert Yard, and some kid comes up to me and he's like, hey, do you happen to know this dude Cumrag? Or he said some shit. He's like, you look like this guy I know who writes Cumrag. And I'm like, I kind of chuckled. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he's just like, oh, what's up, man? I've never met this dude in my entire life. So I don't know how he thinks he knows me. He told me what he wrote. I don't remember what he wrote. He was some kid in the yard. I don't even think he painted.
Yeah.
But
he's just hanging out.
I think he had a backpack with him. I don't know. It's like that has happened to me.
Yeah. It's a weird feeling, right?
Dude, it's happened like a bunch of times. You know, it's like I appreciate the kids for wanting to approach me.
Yeah.
At the same time, if I'm doing something where I look like I'm preoccupied,
fuck off.
Just leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like I had a job for a while that was introducing me to a lot of younger people, and some of them were in the graffiti community.
Sure.
And you know, I'm not gonna exactly say where this job was.
Right.
People pulling up necessarily, but I was doing.
Hey, I heard Cumrag used to work here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You don't need to do that. But like, you know, these kids would come by and they'd be like, "Hey, you write, blah 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 blah," right? And I was like, yeah, what's up? You know, and the space was set where we could have a healthy conversation.
Sure.
You know, but if I'm actively painting, just let me paint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, I don't mean Desert Yard's a little different. Like, you definitely can kick back and chill there. But I just don't like Desert Yard in general because of that reason. Like, it's like,
yeah,
just let me, you know what I mean? Or it's like, if you see me on the internet, like, just shoot me a DM. I'll usually respond. Don't ask me something stupid like, how do I get into your crew? Don't ask me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will let you know if I want you down. You know, and it's probably not going to be you. But, like, you know, don't, like, you know, ask me anything. I'm definitely, like, I'm an open book. I'll talk to you about.
Yeah.
If you have questions about pertaining to yourself, don't ask me questions about shit that I'm not already willing to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like, don't, like, if you hear about drama, don't bring that shit up. Nobody really likes to talk about drama when they're with people they don't know. You know?
For
It's
sure.
like that shit's like the whole, like, I love that she's made as well, but I do that with people who are involved. Everyone who's in my friend circle knows I am a notorious fucking tea spiller. And, like, I will call my homies to talk shit about homies that I was just hanging out with. Because I'm just a shit talker, dude. You know what I mean? I love y'all. I love all my niggas. Don't get it twisted. But, like, you guys be pissing me off sometimes. And who else to vent to? Because I'm not going to vent to my girl about it because she doesn't know them.
Yeah.
I'm going to vent to other homies who understand, oh, yeah, so-and-so does that shit all the time. I fucking hate it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny because that keeps me loving y'all, and at the end of the day,
like, wanting to paint colors, and guys was just like, no, chrome and black.
Exactly, dude. Like, come on.
You know what's funny is actually yesterday we were hanging out at Anchor spot, and fucking I seen Monroe there, and he's like, dude, fucking, you know where I can get some silver Montanas? And I was like, what for? And he's like, well, fucking, I'm trying to paint with Gezer, but he don't want to paint no colors, so we're gonna do black fill chrome outline. And I was like, I was like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I was like, we were supposed to do it today, but they're actually going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to pull up and hang out with them.
I fucking went out with Acre the other night. And
oh, nice.
Dez was supposed to come with us, but
he's probably balls deep in a hyena.
Yeah, he said he had to clean his room, and I was like, I don't know, like, you said you had to clean your room at 2 in the afternoon. Now I'm calling you because it's nighttime. Like, what's up? And he's like, he texts me back at like 11. Like, where are y'all at? I was like, we're at Kona Club. Like, I started drinking, you fucking asshole. What the fuck? Like, where are you?
Yeah.
Doesn't text back. I haven't talked to him since. Like, a couple days ago. So we'll see what happens.
Gotta love Gezer.
But yeah, you know, like, I'm living in Berkeley, and you know, at this time. What, I put out another video while I was in Berkeley, and then This is like years are starting to pass now, and it's like shit's sort of like the snowball is getting a nice steady pace going, I would say. This is also not that long ago. But subsequently when I was living in Berkeley, I relapsed. Had a breakup with a different girl that I was seeing who was also honestly like the greatest. I hope my current girl doesn't hear me say this, but she, it's like I got special feelings for my ex. Where not still, mind you, I've accepted that in order for her to live a healthier lifestyle, she should probably not be with me. That's a weird sort of feeling where it's like I love this person so much that I will just let them go.
Yeah.
And stop trying to be in their life because it's not going to work. It won't ever work. She needs more than I can give her. You know? And I don't know how I tell that to... I'm also trying to change and grow. And be a better partner altogether. And that shit is fucking hard.
Yeah.
But,
it takes time.
I'm seeing a lovely woman now. But she's definitely younger than me enough where we have our differences based on just like the things we do. She's big on TikTok and big on like just always on social media. Never had a partner send me countless selfies all fucking day. It's like I don't hate it, but it's like, dude, like calm down. I want to be able to have you be a surprise somewhat still every time I see you. She also lives pretty far away, so we only really see each other once a week. But
okay.
And like
the selfies did it for me.
So much fucking sex. It's insane. It's like I've never really found myself to be that much of a sexually driven person, and now that I'm with my partner now,
we only see each other once a week.
Yeah,
that's built up, bro.
Like, yeah, I guess you're right. It's true, but it's like, dude, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
but that's a different. This ain't a sex podcast.
Need to start
like
one, bro.
I relapsed after a breakup, and I did cocaine again, and I was doing that shit for like a year solid. And that was like a very dark sort of time because it's like it wasn't like the same party go mode that it once was in the past. It was very much like now I'm like retreating to go do it. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting my bag and then like running off to go home and snort in my room,
Yeah.
And fucking not like losing weight, fucking just bad shit, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking
that's
scary.
rough.
And I've realized that sort of made me realize is like, because I jokingly got it was like, I can handle it again. I can do it again. And it's like, no, you can't. And even this time around, it made it clear. It's like,
yeah,
I may not be able to pull myself out of it again if I do it again, So now I'm just like, I got the fear of God in me. It's like, because I had a fucking sore on my upper lip. I had a sore right at the base of the fucking.
So much coke.
So much of that shit. Plus the flavor saver doesn't help. So I had this open wound at the base of my septum on the outside that would not heal. I would give it I'd try to go okay, well, let's not do coke for 2 days to let it heal. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Open right back up because cocaine is an acidic thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't fucking finely grind that shit up and make that shit real powdery and fine, shit'll sit in the hair follicles and just eat away at your skin.
Yeah.
I started doing this thing which just can't be good for the lining of my stomach. I was parachuting it for a while. I would fucking put a key bump in my thumb and go
oh shit,
eat it. It's gross. It's disgusting. Nasty. Never got good at doing that either, but it's like, dude,
I have to ask then, just out of curiosity, because it seems like, and I do appreciate that you're very open with schizophrenia.
Yeah.
I think mental health is something that a lot of people kind of shun away.
Yeah.
And I've heard you speak about it in the past, and even with the Crush the Town documentary. I think it's good that you're open to it, so it's more exposure for people that are dealing with it. How
it's a real ass thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even now, sitting here having a conversation, you're well put together. We're talking, so it's like, how did that affect your mental health in those periods, and how were you able to kind of do what you could to pull yourself out of that?
Well, so that's like super tricky because there's definitely been different stages. Depending on what type of drugs I choose to do will usually determine where my psychosis and mental health goes. I usually don't do well with psychoactive drugs and stuff that causes you to like trip out. I like to be in the moment. I also like to go really fast. And one thing I will say is everything is easier when you're on a medication that you can handle and maintain. Because straight up, some people will lapse on their meds because they lose track of their doses. Now, I got on a med that's an injection.
Oh, okay.
So I get a time-release medication that goes in. I get an injection every 3 months, and I get I've been doing that for the past 10 years.
Okay.
And that helps me keep track of my doses because if I'm left to my own devices, like, dude, I don't brush my teeth every day. So you think I'm going to be able to take pills every day? Like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even think I don't even make it home. You know, like, I can't be, like, my girlfriend, she takes, like, psych meds on a daily basis, and, like, you know, she lapses in her meds for too long, her mood gets fucked up.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, I found something that works, and I made a point to stay on it. But it was a lot of heavy trial and error.
Yeah.
And a lot of just, like, bad fucking times. And also, gathering your marbles to handle all that shit is so much easier when you're sober. If you suffer from mental illness, get sober. That's the first thing you should do is get sober. Because then you have basically a baseline you can run off of. Yeah. They always told me that when I was going to see doctors, and I never really was like, oh, I want to drink and I want to smoke weed because my friends are doing it. And it's like, well, no, you need to be sober so you can actually gather all your shit.
Yeah, so you know what triggers it or whatever, you know.
That's why I don't smoke weed, because it's like, dude, if I were to smoke weed, I'd fucking lose my mind and fucking would not be thinking in reality. Sure. But, you know, I took a liking to cocaine because my medication causes me to generally be at a low energy, slower rate of movement and functionality. Oh, okay. Where I'm kind of always tired, always fatigued, always wanting to sit down or lay down. And, like, cocaine got me back to what I felt was, like, a normal functioning level. Sure. You know? I also, up until I started really abusing cocaine, I didn't really have a conversation part of my brain. I didn't really know how to talk. Like, I was very quiet and reserved. Couldn't, like, the way I'm talking right now, I was in my early 20s, I was not this talkative. Oh, really? I was, like, very much shut off and would just not really talk. And I also noticed a lot of the relationships I had back then did not promote healthy dialogue or conversation or listening. A lot of my friends would do these things where they'd have shouting battles with each other because I think we were all kind of fried from constant drug use when we were in high school. Yeah. So, you know, it's like you get a bunch of people with combating personalities in the same place. You try and have them have, like, deep conversations. It's like, you know, no one's going to listen to each other. Everyone's gonna wait for their turn to talk or just yell over each other. And then, like, you know, aside from all the other bullshit that comes along with, like, combating behavior types. But, you know, with the help of, you know, I want to honestly, I hate to say this, but cocaine kind of helped me come out of my shell. Yeah. You know, in a healthy environment where I was able to, you know, I hate giving it that power too, but I'm not going to act like it's not true. And I also don't believe that growth is linear. You know, sometimes I think you sort of have to backtrack and fuck up to really actually grow in a different direction. And, you know, I don't regret the times that I spent with the various people that I did a lot of drugs with. I don't regret those times, but those times are over now. Yeah. And
you learn from your experiences, you know, and stuff like that.
Take what's healthy, take away from it what's healthy, and learn from it.
Sure.
And don't make the same mistakes twice. You know, if you're someone who's constantly fucking up and making the same mistake over and over and over again, you are a stupid person.
Yeah, well, that's literally the you know, the textbook definition of insanity, right? Is to do the exact same thing and expect different outcomes.
It's kind of the nature of what graffiti is too. You know, it's like it's one of these things that, like, it's a habitual activity, so we're constantly doing it over and over and over again. We may change the color we choose to do it in, but it's still basically the same thing, because at the root of it all, it's the same word. You know? It's at least that much is the same.
Yeah.
And so, of course, graffiti writers are going to have all these bad habits because they are crazy people. We literally do the crazy thing all the time, and it feels so good to do it, you know? Like,
yeah.
But, yeah, you know, like, I relapsed, and then I went to rehab. And I'm glad, because I made the conscious decision myself to do that. Reached out to my healthcare provider, and I was like, look, I need to check into a treatment program. Technically, I didn't graduate the program because I had to get back to work. And so I just was like, once the 3 weeks I was doing it was up, I was like, I'm done. I'm back to work, even if I'm not peeing clean. Because I think I was still kind of handling it, which I guess cocaine is one of these sensitive things where if you get that residue on your fingers, it still shows up in your urine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even the tiniest little bit. So I was still doing very much handling of it, but I've been off of it since November last year, and I'm thankful for that. But it's like, when I got off tangent a little bit, but like as far as like the mental health part, it's like that shit sort of amplified, like, I don't know, it didn't amplify psychosis, but it sent me into places that could allow me to get back into psychosis. Because it's sort of what's the word I'm looking for? It promoted a fuck it sort of attitude about things, where I was like, oh, well, I'm already doing this. I've already called out of work. I'm already got a beer. Fuck it. Maybe I'll smoke a joint. And then that's like bad.
Yeah.
So I did smoke a couple times, but it's like, you know, every time I do that, I would just be like, this was a mistake. Now I got to suffer for the next 6 hours.
Yeah.
And be scared in my own house, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that again, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
So, yeah, it's like now I'm kind of on some shit where it's like, I'm like looking at graffiti as the bigger picture for what it really is and how much it's bringing to the table of like what it's doing for me, good and bad, you know? Because I think there's a lot of positive, healthy things that come from graffiti, but like when you're just so engulfed in the exact moment and you don't make plans for what the longer path is doing for you, that's when you get fucked up, you know? And I think it's important. It's like now I know it's like one thing that's going to keep graffiti fresh for me for the next 10 years is traveling and painting. Because that's one thing I wanted to talk about is like, I didn't do much traveling until like maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
have you traveled internationally?
And painted? No, I've never painted outside of the country.
Okay.
The first time I painted outside of the Bay was I went to Chicago. I've been to Portland a couple times, but I don't really count Portland because it's too easy. It's too easy to access from the Bay. If you're going to Portland, at least go up to Seattle. Portland sucks. Portland's fucking racist, and there's a lot of weird, snooty, stupid white people who all suck in their toy.
Yeah.
Except for a couple people. I will give them that, but I don't like fucking Portland. And you have me on wax saying fuck Portland. Okay? I'm getting close to the mic because I'm very serious about this. You know, if you're from Portland, fix that. You know, I was like I say, fuck Portland, dude. Seattle's tight. Seattle's sick. Never been, but I want to go.
Yeah.
And but like, you know, I'd been to Portland a couple times, but the first time I really painted outside of the Bay was like I went to Chicago.
Okay.
For a KFC meeting, and that was fucking wild, dude. We went in May. It was either March or May. Still raining and cold outside, but it was so much fun. We racked. Fucking which people in Chicago don't even use fucking Rusto like that.
Really?
No, not really, dude. They fucking use fancy paint. Everybody's got fancy paint because they don't sell paint within Chicago city limits. So we went outside of Chicago, pushed a cart, and it was a cakewalk. Pushed like 3 carts at once, and you know, we had all this rusto, and we had like basically a week to use it. And you know, at the time I was completely sober. Most of the homies were partying, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna like go capitalize on the cold weather. I'm not gonna drive the rental car that we got. I'm just gonna walk, put in some footwork, and it just was like having a grand old time, dude. Just like, because you apply the type of thinking for your spots that you would out there, and people don't paint the same shit in Chicago that they do in the Bay. Like, Chicago's notorious for being a place where everybody will paint something that's either visible from a subway line or visible from the freeway. Plenty of shit that's street side on surface streets. Nobody paints it.
No, really.
Fresh brick, fresh cement, cinder block, all this shit, all these cutty yards where you would think there'd be pieces, just nothing. If it's not visible from a subway line, they're not going to bother. If it's not visible from a freeway,
that's crazy.
they don't bother. And they only do really straight letters and burners. Nobody really does throw ups, which is really interesting. It's so strange, you know. So I was like, oh dude, there's so much shit for the picking. I don't know if it runs. I'm hoping it does.
Yeah.
But I haven't been back since, so I haven't been able to check up on my spots. But I did see a couple things that I painted out there get flicked.
Nice.
This was a while ago, so I think since it's been recycled, because people do go over a lot of people out there. There's like a lot of it's weird too, because like fools are like, they're like gangbanger graffiti writers, but they're all on some weird Chicago-based gangbanging, which is like everybody's got a gun. Like, you know, it's like a lot of funk. And it's like, you know, gnarly ass looked out white boys too. It's fucking funny.
Yeah.
But then that was like the first. I like really crushed out there for like a short amount of time. But then I also went to Philly a couple months ago, and that was a lot of fun too. Basically did the same thing. You learn like, if you have a tour guide to some extent, you can learn the ups and downs of like the urban landscape. You know, you can kind of figure out what runs, what doesn't run, and what you can expect from the population, you know? Because like Philly was like, cops don't give a shit at all. No cop in Philly is stopping me for doing graffiti.
Sick.
But everyone was like, yeah, just be careful, because like, you know, folks will check you if you're in the wrong neighborhood, and they will have no hesitation of shooting you, because I guess everybody in Philly has a gun. At the same time, everybody who told me that is white, so I don't know. I didn't have any issues when I was in Philly. I was walking around doing ketamine and fucking wandering, just stumbling through the street with markers at like middle of the night. I think also Philly shuts down too, so like they like, it goes to sleep. You know, it's not like New York or something where there's people out all night. Even Chicago was pretty sleepy too, but it was also the winter. But like, it was cold outside. But like, yeah, dude, like Philly was like, it was like dead. You know,
yeah.
And I'm like, I think I saw the entire time I was there, I saw one cop basically roll by me. I didn't really see much police presence in general in Philly. It was really interesting. But, you know, everyone's like, yeah, like, you may paint this really fire spot on some fresh brick, and it's going to get power washed the next day, you know?
Yeah.
So, I think their buff is pretty heavy.
Word.
Which, I don't know. I loved it, though. I had a great time. Apparently, it's not really, it's kind of a depressing place, I guess, but I had a good time.
I've never been. Yeah, I'll definitely make a note of that. There's a couple places I want to check out here in America. I don't know, for some reason when I started traveling, I was like, I gotta leave.
Yeah, go out of the country.
Well, because I mean, I'm first generation American, right? My parents are from Guatemala, so like for me, like I spent my summers in Guatemala. Yeah. You know, so I was always traveling outside of the country as a kid, and I just didn't really think about it. So then once I got into an adulthood where I was like, okay, I'm planning my own trips. Well, why am I going to go to the U.S.? You know, like there's so much out there to see, you know, and seeing the stark contrast from San Francisco Mission District to fucking Zacapa, Guatemala, you know, it's like, it's night and day, you know. I mean, I've been, you know, I was like 10 years old in fucking Las Fincas, you know, shitting in an outhouse, wiping my ass with newspaper, you know, and then you come back to the U.S. and you're like, oh, running water, you know.
Is it crushed out there?
Guatemala City, it does have graffiti out there. Outside places, pretty much no.
Okay.
You know, I didn't really see much graffiti But I also haven't been to Guatemala City since I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
The last time I went to Guatemala was 2 years ago, but I went to Tikal, which is just like a Mayan ruin.
Okay.
And that was just because it was something on my bucket list. We were in Belize. That was actually the main trip. And it was just a 2-hour drive to Tikal. So I was like, oh, well, fuck, if we're already here, let's just, hop in real quick and hop back out. Yeah. So, but Belize, there is a little bit of graffiti, but it's few and far between, like, it's kind not to be cocky, but I have the only burner. Me and my wife Tenchi, we have the only burners in Ambergris Keys, in the island of Ambergris Keys. There is one throwy, Atomic from Florida.
Oh
the
shit!
Orange.
Yeah.
He's got one of his oranges on the side of a hotel. But other than that, those are the only 2 pieces of graffiti in the entire island of Ambergris Keys. Me and Tenchi got the burners on there. Yeah, street side at a tattoo shop.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, shit like that is cool, but yeah, I've never been interested in traveling inside of the US, And so now that my lady's full-time student, during the summer months when we usually travel for her birthday or like, my birthday in March, we always go internationally, but now she has to do like EMT training where she actually has to like shadow EMT people. It's a requisite of her program that she's in. We don't have time to leave because her school and her career is far more important than us fucking around for a couple of weeks. So I was like, you know what, maybe we'll start doing some like weekend or like 4-day trips here in the US because it's a little bit more accessible. So the next 2 years I'm excited to go around the US and try to link up and hook up with people.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to. I'm like, I get real nervous about traveling, which is why I've stuck around the U.S. for the most part. Like,
it's a trip, dude, because if you're as an American, for how easy we have it in, like you said, in Oakland, cops won't bat an eye. That is the complete opposite in different places around the world.
Okay.
So it's like, there's so many little things, man, that you're just like, man, if I get wrapped here, I'm getting thrown into a jail where no one's going to want to represent me.
Yeah.
I don't know the language. I'm going to get ousted because I'm a foreigner no matter what, There's so many little things that like, like being in Korea and the homie being like, yo, you can't pay with your card for the rest of the time that you're here. You have to only pay cash because they'll figure out how to get to your card and be able to trail where you're at based on your card and find you through CCTV.
Oh no.
So it's like when you're like, oh shit, like, you're using technology like that versus like being like you're catching a throw and a cop's literally driving by and you're like, fuck you, bitch. Like
exactly.
It's you don't realize how easy we have it here in the Bay.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thing, And even in America, let's keep it real, like you go to other parts of America and you get caught for graffiti and then you get thrown in like the drunk tank for the day or whatever. What are you in here for? Graffiti? And they go, pff.
Yeah.
But it's like in Asia, it's like they don't fuck around.
No,
I've
heard they don't.
It was like those 2 Australian dudes that got caught riding in China. They got like 20 lashings, old school bamboo style across the back, ripped their skin open.
Oh, dude.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's so there's other places like Barcelona. I mean, it's a fucking free for all, dude. It's just like Oakland. You can paint wherever the fuck you want. No one cares. Everyone looks the other way. Okay. So there's you just got to kind of learn how to like whatever move within the world. But I am excited to check out some spots. I definitely want to go to Philly, Chicago, New York. I painted Orlando randomly.
That sounds.
It was hot and humid.
I got a homie in Orlando right now, Susio.
Yeah.
He's good people.
Yeah, I was out there for a job convention. Randomly, I got flown out there. We had to learn the new products that were coming in or whatever. It's a fucking soul-crushing job that I can't wait to quit. No, seriously, it's I fucking it sucks having to be an adult.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But it's just one of those things you sacrifice what you have to do, right? So when my lady was like, "Oh, hey, I'm going to go into this two-year program to further my career, I have to quit my job," I was like, "Oh, I got to get a real job to support us then." And that's when I'm at this spot right now and I'm just like, fuck. But within the first year they were like, "Oh, we got this convention, we're going to fly you out to Orlando." And I was like, "Orlando? How random is that?" And then I got on the horn. Shout out to Twigs. He was like, "Oh, I got a homie." And then Twigs shot me over to Grab Grab was like, I'm hella busy, but hit up the homie House. I hit up House, and then House was like, oh, there's this place called House of Pho, and they have walls in the back. They're like,
shit.
He's like, I'll link you up with the owner, and then he like shot me the directions. And
is this like Freight House?
it's just a pho spot.
No, the house, the Ryder House. Is it the dude who paints freights?
Oh, I don't know. I follow him on Instagram, and all he does is tags. So I don't know if he actually does hella like freight, but it's literally House of Hands. And it's like, dude, sick ass hands. I mean, seriously, dude's like a tag master. But yeah, I just painted the back of this random pho house, ate pho, and I was like, this is fire. And then I ran back and did this like soul crushing fucking convention.
Damn, I want some pho. That sounds good.
Yeah, have you ever been to? I'm not gonna. Well, I'll bleep it out because I don't want anyone to give away. I'm like, oh, he lives by there. You know what I'm saying? I'll just oust myself.
Yeah.
Kenny's Noodle House right here on.
No.
Fuck when whip.
No. Wait,
okay,
what?
I can't pronounce Vietnamese at all, obviously, but when you read the sign, it says pho, and it's like Huynh, so it's like Huynh. At least that's how I'm pronouncing it. Obviously, I'm not Vietnamese, and then whip, it's like
HWHIP.
No, it's like HIUP. It's like whoop.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's by my house. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It is one of the most fire pho spots, and they have 7 locations. They have like 3 in the SF. They got 2 in the peninsula somewhere.
Yeah.
And they have one, I think, Redwood City, and then like 2 in Walnut Creek.
Okay.
I think there's one in Oakland.
What do you usually get? What's your go-to order?
Well, I actually, it's funny because you're like a steak dude, but I personally stay away from beef because of the red meat is like super bad for men in like our hearts.
I believe it.
You know, and
it's
also
not doing anything good for my health.
Yeah, prostate cancer and all that shit is like a real thing. You know, it's like you hear all of the things that red meat are terrible for men. So usually I get either their seafood combo, which is like crab, shrimp, calamari, fish cake.
That also sounds fire though.
Yeah, I usually get that, or I just get pho ga, which is like just chicken noodle soup. Ga means chicken.
Because I'm like,
that sounds really good for dinner.
Tendon, give me the tripe.
Tripe. Oh, I love it. Listen, I love beef. Don't get it twisted, but I try to stay away from it for health reasons. But yeah, I love tripe. I love that shit.
Oh, so you're a fan of buche then?
Oh, run it all. Run it.
Wait, so is it beef tripe or pork tripe?
It's beef tripe.
Okay. No one would do pork tripe, right? Is that
well, I mean, the deluxe when you get from any pho spot is usually beef balls with flank beef but beef tripe. It's like all beef based.
Okay.
And I love every single aspect of it. And I will tell you this, their beef balls are seasoned to perfection.
I'm going to have to check this shit out. Not today, though.
Yeah. Well, I believe there's one in Oakland.
Oh.
I'm like...
Well, then we're running it. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
And my lady's like, what's up with dinner? I'm starving. I'm like, ooh. Yeah, I'm going to have to go get her in a second.
Oh, yeah, that's all good. I feel like we've been talking for a minute here. Yeah, man, I mean, like, shit. I mean, that's basically where we're at now. It's like, I want to travel.
Oh, the first one from the spot. See, this how... it's HIEP.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is the spot. It's fucking smack. You gotta go.
Yeah, I'm checking that out.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's cheap, dude. Like, me and my lady both get fucking huge, large fuzz, and it's like $20.
Okay. Reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, you know, it's like I'm on a, sort of like on this, I don't know. It's like, I very much want graffiti to keep working in my life, and I'm realizing that it's going to take a lot more work than just doing it to make it healthy and work. Because I think there's this thing that I've noticed, at least with my own behavior, is when you just do it blindly, just do it just to do it.
Yeah.
You can let so many things in your life fall to the wayside. And I think it's I find it to be very, very helpful to be more planned out with how I do my graffiti now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like, you know, always having a plan of action, because it's like you could be playing everything by the book, and the next thing you know, you're in jail.
Yeah.
You know, and then that fucks up everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like But I'm confident that shit's gonna play out because I believe in it. You know what I mean? And it's like no matter what, you gotta believe in it. You gotta be confident that shit's gonna work in your favor. And I think I've seen it with other people and with other writers. I've seen it play out in their favor. You never know what's going on the backside of things.
Sure.
But I think it's like and if it isn't working, you don't have to do it. That's the other part too, is I think a lot of people forget that you don't have to do this shit.
Yeah.
Right now or ever.
Yeah.
You can stop tomorrow if you want to. Don't let anyone make you feel like you have to keep painting.
Yeah, it's this is going to be a broken record here, but I always bring it up. It's like, when it comes to graffiti, it's not a race, man. It's a marathon.
It's not.
Yeah, and so it's like if you love graffiti so much, it is, one of those things that, you kind of have to fall back on certain things so that you can keep it healthy within yourself. And, there's so many things that I do myself that I'm like, fuck, dude, like, do I want to paint? Fuck yeah, I do. Can I paint this weekend? No.
Right?
No, I cannot. No. So it's like, when people are like, oh yeah, man, you've been painting lately, I'm like, where? Like, really? I'd like to be there when that happens, because it's fucking one of the few things in the world that actually like calms my nerves. Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, it's nice to know that, like, sure, I'm not 20 years old and doing fucking 9 spots in a weekend, I'm doing like 9 spots in a year. Yeah. But when I get those moments, I cherish it more, I appreciate it more, and I also make it count. I like when I the constant joke of this podcast is me talking shit about Gez fucking with his silver fill black outline. I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna go out and paint, I'm not doing a fucking chrome fill. I'm gonna go in 3-4 colors and do background and this and that.
It's
so
like I say, you gotta do what you want to do at the end of the day too.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
He needs to. I wish he just blue, green, pink.
I would love to see him do it.
I've seen him do it a couple times.
He has. I got him to do it once.
Too. It looks good too, and he's like, I don't really know how to use colors. Like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's the part that's frustrating. I'm like, yes, you do, motherfucker. Like,
right.
I've known you for 10 years, longer than that. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first time I actually ever painted a NyQuil piece, I fucking was like, yo, I got this van lined up. You should paint it with me. These are the colors. And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, just do it. And then I was like, bro, that looks fresh as fuck. He's like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, bro. But it looked good.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, let's wrap things up. Any final things you want to ask?
Well, I mean, I think we went on a, huge spectrum of things, learning about your personal life and how that's affected your graffiti to, some of your fun things. And obviously a lot of the user submitted questions and for the most part has been satisfied. I mean, I'm personally out of questions. I always ask, what's your last meal? But you said it'd be a steak.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, as weird as eating is with me, it's just, but you always got to make sure. That's one thing too. It's like you'll neglect the food if you're focused on other things. You got to make sure you get your food in.
Yeah.
Make sure you eat.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you haven't eaten today, go eat. Go eat something.
That's definitely what I'm gonna do right now. Yeah. Actually, this morning I had fajitas left over from like 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I'll just put an egg on top of it, and that makes it breakfast.
There you go, dude. Yeah. What did I have for breakfast? I had a patty melt for breakfast.
A patty melt? That's fire.
Patty melt from On's Burger.
There you go. Yeah, I feel like now that we've talked about it, I'm going to go get fucking Kevin's.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I want fun now. That sounds fire. Yeah. Even though it's a hot day, but whatever. Oh. I'm Hispanic, dude. Like, we fucking... You know what I'm saying? The hottest fucking sopa de res on a hot ass. It'd be 97 degrees and shit. My mom's over there with a cauldron. Just a big ass wooden spoon. And I'm just like, why? Throw some ice cubes in that bitch.
Right. Damn.
Well, shit, man. I really appreciate you making the time, coming over and talking with me.
Of course.
Documenting your story is really super cool. I think definitely, I've seen you paint throughout the years and, I've captured many of your things. So it's really cool to hang out with you and whatnot. And, you know, get a more.
I'm glad you had me on. I appreciate the opportunity. You know, and definitely, I'm glad I finally got to take a verbal dump to some some
Yeah,
extent.
that's awesome.
Because it's like, you know, I appreciate you having me on the show. You know, like I got a lot of shit to say.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. And I'm glad, you know, that we have a platform for you to do that.
Yeah.
I
believe in this podcast too, dude. This is good. This is healthy, you know.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it, you know. I think over time it was one of those things that I was just like, should I put this out there? And then now it's become a thing where I'm like, fuck. Like, not that I'm necessarily trying to keep it for others, you know, like, I feel pressured, you know, because there's months that I don't do it just because I'm like, you know what, I just can't. And that's it is what it is. But it's become this thing where it's like now I'm grateful for so many people being a part of it. I'm grateful for all the listeners that have listened to it and then have given me feedback. And it's become this thing that I'm just like, fuck, dude, in a way I'm grateful, but it's also a little bit of pressure to be like, fuck, I got to keep this thing going, you know, but in a good way.
I mean, you know, it will. I think it will. It's like there's the pressure or not.
Yeah.
It will. I think.
What's nice is some of the people that are like, were instantly like, we were talking about this earlier, like they're like, nah, you know, people have hit me up since then and been like, hey man, you really kept that thing going. I might be down one of these days, you know.
There you go.
So we'll see some guests, you know, that are coming around and shit like that I've been hitting on, you know, see my posts when I'm like, all right, dump in your questions. But at the end of the show, I always do sources. So, you know, if you're coming off of a search and you just randomly found this episode and you don't know who we are, you can find me on Instagram, bay_area_graffiti. That's just like photography and terrible graffiti memes. A bunch of stupid videos, and I apologize for that, but it's just been kind of my vibe lately. My personal graffiti is What's Your Name, but name is spelled Naym, which is just Myan backwards. Check out, if you go to any of those pages, there's a little link tree that drops everything. I have a YouTube as well that's like Myan graffiti and stuff like that. I did a video that's like an hour long. It's like the last 10 years of all the graffiti that I've done.
I watched that. I'm going to check it out again, actually, because I want to pay closer attention to it. But
yeah, for sure, man. Other than that, I am dropping a zine next month. That's called Tunnel Vision. It's going to be over 200 pages. I think it's 76 pages, over 200 photos of the last like 15 years of like underground dwelling.
Nice.
So I'm excited to put that out. That's going to be at the AITB art show, which obviously you're invited and I want you to be in it. So I'll have you contribute some artwork. If you're listening to this past tense and it already happened, reach out. If I might have some copies left over. But as far as you, man, you know, you want to drop any sources people can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's Pajolaso, Pajolaso. And then YouTube. What was it? I think it's
Trillville.
It's Trillville, but it's the same thing. Yeah. Also Pajolaso. And there's a link on my Instagram page to my YouTube page. And
there you go.
Instagram is one thing. You can, if you follow me, you can watch my story, I guess. But it's like, I'm not really taking Instagram seriously. It's like, because all of the stuff I'm proud of, as far as like bigger projects outside of graffiti, but graffiti related, it was all on YouTube. And like, you know, I'm trying to get back into the swing of posting regular videos.
Sick.
You know, the shit's like everything lands in that stratosphere of YouTube. You know, they upload like a lifetime's worth of filmed and recorded content like every 2 hours. It's like something like 75 years gets uploaded every 2 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, honestly. I can't even imagine like the acres of like servers.
It's impossible to watch everything on there. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
There's too much shit.
Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, I fuck with YouTube super tough.
I like it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm constantly editing and working on videos. Non-graffiti related, which I won't give any information because that's like my personal, it's like my face and shit being like, hi guys. But if you find it because you're Cuddy and shit and you're like an FBI person that like pattern recognitions and figures out who I am, then, you know, give me a subscribe.
Yeah. Word.
Well, sick, man. Well, thanks again, for being on the show. Thank you to everyone that's been listening, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Peace. Later.
What is this rush thing? What is the rush that you get from it?
The ultimate rush. Nothing can beat it. No drugs, no nothing.
Are you the kind of person who goes up on those signs on the freeway?
Yeah, more than anyone.